Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Today is March 24th, 2015, and this is a regular meeting of the members of the New York State Liquor Authority. In attendance is Chairman Rosen and Commissioner Green. Commissioner Kim is absent. Staff in attendance is General Counsel Flug, Deputy Commissioner O'Brien, and myself, Secretary Held. The next regular meeting dates are set for Tuesday, April 7th and April 21st. All meetings are held in our New York City office with video conferencing available in our other office locations. Items will be called in the orders they're signed in, first in Buffalo, then Albany, then here in New York City. When your matter has been called, please approach the podium and state your name clearly for the record. As a matter of courtesy, we do ask that you silence your cell phones, but before we call the first item, the chairman has an announcement to make.
Okay, I have a couple of announcements. One is that this will be my last meeting as chair of the authority. Tomorrow will be my last day at the authority. I will be in the Albany office on Wednesday. By virtue of a change in the statute that we sought 3 years ago, all the administrative authority in the agency rests in the chair. The regulatory authority was left untouched as residing in the full board. Because of that, with my imminent departure, I am delegating my administrative authority to Commissioners Green and Kim. So they will carry on in my absence under that delegation until a new chairperson is appointed to the agency. The other announcement I wanted to make is that as I speak, there are a number of items being posted on our website. I think the most important of which is an advisory that we approved at a prior meeting concerning the surrender and safekeeping of licenses. That's been an issue that's been full of ambiguity over the years, and we've tried to give some clarity to the industry in that advisory. So I would suggest that folks take a look at the website later today, and in particular with respect to that item.
They're all up.
I'm sorry?
They're up now.
They're up now. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, that's all I have.
Okay.
The advisory isn't that good.
All right, first item in Buffalo is 643. Ronald Vino.
Good morning. Don Cheney with Cheney and Blair, attorney for the applicant.
Victoria Knoll, the applicant.
Chad McKenna, the consultant for the applicant.
All right, good morning. There had been a couple of protests submitted to the authority. Is there anyone present in opposition? If there is, we'll hear them first and then the applicant. No one?
There's no opposition present.
Okay, then we'll hear you.
Sure. Again, Don Cheney on behalf of the applicant. We did submit a response to the letters and protests, just showing that this location is experiencing tremendous growth. I think the demographics show that over 5,000 people have moved into the town of Victor from the 2000 census to the 2010 census. There's projections for 10-11% growth in this area. The closest liquor store is actually 2.2 miles away. They did not complain. The complaints were over 3.7 miles away. So we're serving a different demographic altogether, and there's plenty of room for this liquor store to thrive and succeed in its current location. So we'd be happy to answer any questions that the commissioners may have.
We're ready to vote. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. It was helpful to know that this location is going to be in that mall that's located with the Walmart. And also, just to identify that the closest liquor store is actually more than 2.2, is 3.2 miles away. And I think this store would serve public convenience and advantage, so I approve.
Yeah, there is a license that was issued about 1.5 years ago, but that store is over 4 miles away. So I think there's good distances between the stores, and their sales seem to be either steady or increasing. So it's approved. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Don.
545 and 546. Lock Pub.
Damien Spalla, Lockport Pub Entertainment.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, this is on after hearing for the imposition of a penalty. Do you want to make any statement before we impose a penalty?
I had a question. I didn't know if I had options as to whether my penalty would be a fine or if I could do a temporary close of business in lieu of the fine, and what I need to do if I had to do a class for staff to receive the discount with the fine. And I also have,
Yes.
uses,
Well, unless, if you combine the penalties.
Sorry?
If you combine the proceedings, then it's a multi-proceeding,
Yeah.
unless you're going to single out what the penalty is specifically for
Yeah.
the sale of minor.
Then we could do an
Then do the,
Yeah.
You mentioned a suspension. Why would you want to shut down rather than pay a monetary fine?
the monetary fine is quite difficult at this point right now, and I'm due for renewal on my license and taxes and everything else. It's, I have to do 3 times the business to make up what I have to pay on the fine, which would...
A suspension wouldn't help that. How would that be helpful?
It'd probably be pretty much the same, but it wouldn't be a direct monetary, hopefully I can make that up in the future, as opposed to money coming directly out of my account right away to pay a fine.
Mm-hmm. No, all right. Are you ready to...
I'm sorry.
Yep, go ahead.
I have brought pictures and stuff of other things I've done to kind of be proactive about proactive solutions about what circumstances I had, like an IDing sign for birth date and signage for the means of egress in regards to beverages coming out of for the patrons and for the employees to know. And the furniture has been brought inside, the patio furniture, and it's staged inside the restaurant. So I've tried to be proactive so any of these instances don't happen in the future. And, my only defense is that with this underage service, it was an employee that was on her 4th or 5th hour of work training that day. I mean, everyone is told that they are to ID and, human error or whatever.
All right, we'll vote. Yeah.
do you have an ID scanner?
No, I don't. What I bought was, it's like an ID clock that goes next to the register. I don't know if you can see it by a picture. But it's like a clock that says the birth date and whatever. But every time the server would go to the register, that would be a constant reminder that, hey, we should be IDing. And the more they look at it, and it says right on there, we ID. And it's also to let the customers know that we ID as well.
All right.
But I have heard about the scanners as well.
All right. Being that this is the first violation you've had as an underage, I won't require the ID scanner.
Thank you.
Obviously, you're aware of what the issue is and you're attempting to address it. But I am going to impose a fine. Originally, I had the $4,500 for both violations, but I'll do $4,000 for the violation. They don't have any adverse.
Yeah, I'll agree to that, too. And in terms of mitigation, I saw in the materials that the sheriff had done a sting, and they'd passed that. So, all right, the fine will be $4,000. It would be a good idea to have people ATAP trained, too.
Chairman, were you indicating his request for a reduction on that, or is you just
Yeah,
leave it at the
we're figuring it in.
Figuring it, so he's going to get a reduction on the
So that's
extension
it.
of prem
Yeah,
charge?
it's $4,000 for both charges.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that's with the reduction already for the class?
My penalty would have been $5,000, and Commissioner Green came down $500, so it's $4,000. Yeah.
And how do I get the information for the class? Is that something I can obtain here?
You go online. It's readily available. You go on our website.
It's an online class, or it's the information for it?
The information is online, including our website, and you can take online classes as well as in-person classes. You have that option. We don't give them, but we certify the programs.
Okay.
All right,
I guess the last question is, how long do I got to pay this fine?
You get a letter. You'll have about a month.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
644, 7710 Buffalo Avenue.
Morning. My name is Frank DiAugustino. I'm the owner of 7710 Buffalo Avenue, opening up a new site at 360 Rainbow Boulevard called Lake Erie and Finger Lakes Wine Center.
My name is Tony DiNatale, and I'll be the active manager of the facility, the operation.
All right, we had protests filed on this application. If there's anyone in opposition, we'll hear from them now, and then we'll get back to you. Is there anyone in opposition?
There's no opposition present.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll hear from you. I am concerned that we've got 2 other stores within 1/10 of a mile, and we tend, when we look at public convenience advantage, which is the standard we need to follow, the concern would be having too much alcohol available. So to the extent that you can, I'd like some reassurance with respect to that.
Well, here's the thing. We're not going to be trying to go to the public like these other stores are. We only care about the tourists that come to our tourist center. We're trying to accommodate them.
The majority of all the tourists that come to the One Niagara Center travel on buses, tour buses. The Chinese, South America, Korean, they come to the Welcome Center and drop off their customers. They view the falls and they're off. So they basically have no means of transportation to go to any other liquor stores in the area. So we're not typically your neighborhood liquor store. We're just featuring New York State wines. We have all the support from the wineries located in New York State, and that's the wines that we're going to be featuring in the store.
All right, any questions? No, we'll vote.
I approve.
Yeah, I'll approve it too on that basis, and also his store is less than 700 square feet, and it is just wine. So it's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
560 Downstairs Cabaret.
Good morning. My name is Chris Kowalski. I'm the producing director for the Downstairs Cabaret Theater in Rochester, New York.
And I'm Anne-Marie Sanders. I'm the secretary of the board for the Downstairs Cabaret.
Just to jump right into it, we have 2 theaters, 2 99-seat theaters in Rochester. We're a nonprofit theater organization, a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization. Respectfully, we're asking for consideration in the matter of the Downstairs Cabaret Theater regarding an issue of warehousing, which we want to, and our liquor distributor that delivered the wine was also did not inform us. We have 2 small theaters within 1 block. They actually crossed a parking lot, and the issue was that we got the delivery at one place and we, for convenience, and then we took the wine over to the other building. We've sent a note kind of detailing kind of a long situation dated February 17th, but there's 2 issues that I'd like to address. One is based on clerical error, and 2 is misinformation. And the clerical error was that we actually got 2 determination letters. Once we came to Buffalo to meet to discuss the situation, and we were, and then I guess it went to the board, and we got 2 determination letters, the same case, but it didn't address the other case. So we were confused. We went ahead and sent in $1,000 because we were also told on the issue of misinformation that we could not have the option of being down for any period of time because we operate as a convenience to theater patrons. The $1,000 fines that we're talking about for each of these cases is far more than we would actually ever do in a 10-day period. And in fact, one theater has no activity at all and hasn't had for several months. We were told that the $1,000 minimum would be the only option, so because we were proposing that if we made a mistake, and we're a nonprofit organization, so we certainly didn't know about this information, and we corrected as soon as we were alerted. We were told that it had to be a minimum of $1,000 for each, and we were hoping that, we're still hopeful that somehow that in each of these issues, which are both related to the same of having the wine delivered to one theater and taking it to the other, that we could be down for 10 days in each location and hopefully take the $1,000 that we've already paid and apply it for our next renewal. We're struggling financially right now. This would be a huge help, and it's literally, we're so careful. We never had any issues of underage drinking or anything like that. It's again, a very important but small convenience for our theater patrons.
There's no adverse history on them, is there?
No.
Well, I'm not going to follow your request to suspend a license that you don't use. You were asking to switch the penalties around, and so the suspension would be on a license you don't use. So I don't think we should do that. So I would stay with the $1,000 penalty on one case, and on the other I would do $500. That would reduce it. Originally, the board imposed $1,000 on each case, and on one of them it became a suspension because it wasn't paid. Just so the record's clear, our counsel in Buffalo disputes much of your description and actually tells us that you spend a good deal of time talking with you and trying to explain the circumstances of this case. That being the case, it's not the Lindbergh kidnapping case, and so my suggestion is we do that. We keep we reinstate the $1,000, and on the other case, $500. Okay? And that's what we're going to do. Thank you. So it'll be $1,500.
Okay.
$646, Summit Liquor and Wine.
I'm okay.
Good morning.
You okay with this? One moment, please. Are you okay with this? Okay. Is there any opposition present on this case?
I don't believe so.
There's no opposition present.
All right, thank you. Based on the file, which is very comprehensive, we're going to be able to vote, I think, without any oral presentation by the applicant. I approve it also. There are substantial distances between the stores, and they have the closest stores have substantial sales, so we're not concerned about saturation. Good luck. It's approved.
Thank you.
Thanks.
647, Savory Sips.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Chanel McCarthy of the Nora Group on behalf of the applicant, Savory Sips.
Good morning. Any opposition present?
There's no opposition present.
Okay.
Just the removal.
Yeah. Are you ready, or do you have any questions? All right,
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine with the submission that identified the closest store is about 0.8 of a mile away. And this is an existing store moving. So I approve the removal.
I agree. It's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is there anyone else in Buffalo?
There's no one else in Buffalo.
Okay. And Albany, are you still empty? No one else there? No one there.
No one in Albany.
Thanks, Rose.
Thank you.
Okay, 559, 121 City Island. Sorry about the paperwork on that one.
Sure.
I had a full pass. Somebody's letter got incorporated in that way.
Go ahead.
Good morning. Stacy Weiss for the applicant, 121 City Island Realty Corp. Thank you for hearing our reconsideration.
I'm ready to vote on it.
Yes, I received the materials about the church that has the theater group that utilizes its space. So since the church is not exclusively used, I approve. Or actually, I can't approve it. We'll return to licensing.
We'll
So I
return.
grant the reconsideration.
Is it possible to get a 20-day letter? My client.
Hasn't been acted on yet, and it hasn't been fully reviewed
Okay.
because of the church.
I see.
But if you email me tomorrow, I'll have that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. 591 Crafty Nuance Group.
Morning, Leonard Fogelman, attorney for Crafty Nuance. We have an offer.
For 5,500.
Accept.
Accept.
Thank you. Wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you. Same to you.
686A is a request to amend the advisory 2014-23.
Oh, okay. I got it. This is the,
Discus called up or emailed the chairman and asked to have this adjourned.
I'm sorry?
Discus called, first of all, I wish you the best in your new endeavor, and I will be very sorry to see you go.
Okay.
And your name?
And what?
No. I'm Keenan Dano, on behalf of Empire Merchants and actually myself.
Oh, so that's who you are.
Discus has asked that the request for the amendment to the advisory be put off until the next meeting.
Yeah, they had sent us a written communication, and I'd asked them to try to reach out to you because you had indicated you were hoping that we'd get to this. Have you had any contact with them?
I've had contact with them. They still want it put off. They have what they call bills, but I have come to ask for a personal favor in connection with this because of a mistake that I made. I did not originally see I was the one who originally asked for neck hangers only. And when I was asked if they gave the labels after the bottles were already bought, based on what Commissioner Kim said, I said I didn't think it was a problem and I let it go. And there were 2 barrels in process with these after label on them. And then after rethinking after I said okay, I called up Council Flug and I asked her whether she saw any problem, and she said in fact she did, and she could not approve it without the full board approving it, and went on to say that she was not completely in favor of the full board approving it. So I have come to ask you for to allow the 2 barrels that I have mistakenly let through to be grandfathered.
Okay, just so we know exactly what we're talking about, whose barrels are they? So we know what if we'll allow a use. If we allow a use up, I want to know exactly what it's for.
There are 2 barrels of bourbon. I'm sorry.
That's all right. What's that?
$17.92 bourbon.
Okay. All right, you okay with that? Yes. Okay, we'll allow a use.
Council's office will send you a letter today.
Thank you very much, and I'm sorry that I had to take your time for this.
Okay, and the matter itself will be adjourned for a couple of weeks.
Yes, for the response.
So that would be April 7th, is it?
April 7th.
7th.
$6.79, Mr. Wine and Spirits.
Charles Lynn for the licensee. The conditional no contest plea.
Yep. An offer of $10,000. They submitted some paperwork indicating they purchased a scanner.
That's correct. Yes.
All right.
Accept.
Accepted.
Thank you.
557, Autumn Wine and Liquors.
Talking to the microphone, please.
I'm here on behalf of Pedro Polo, and
What's your name, sir?
Antonio Almanzar.
And when you say you're on behalf of whom?
The applicant, Pedro Polo.
And where is the applicant?
he's not in yet, and his attorney will not be coming in today because they had a prior engagement for today. So we want to know if they can
So they're asking for an
a later
adjournment?
date. Yes.
All right, I'm all right with that. April 7th.
Thank you.
Yep.
Chairman, before we mark this as April 7th.
Yes.
Boys of
Sir, wait a moment, please.
I'm here on protest, originally. There's a reconsideration. I'm not going to be in the area April 7th. I'm going to Georgia to visit my daughter in Atlanta. I already had another matter that was adjourned for that date, so I would ask, if possible, that we could have April 21st.
All right.
21st?
Yeah, so April 21st will be the date. All right.
And Chairman, best of luck in your new position. I feel remiss that nobody has really said, and if I take the time, I apologize, but
if you're saying nice things about me, take all the time.
Yeah. Actually, I was applauding when they said you were leaving.
Yeah.
But
if it's going to get critical, I just remove the calendar.
I think just that when people ask me about the liquor authority, with all the years I've been practicing, I always tell them that I think the chairman has taken the agency from the 19th century into the 21st century. That's how significant changes were. And I would say to Commissioner Green and to the competent staff that you prepared, that kudos should be given to you for your tremendous work in the last 5 years.
All right, thank you. That's very kind. Good luck to you.
659, Lilick. No, this says, I actually have a note on this. This was at the request adjournment to April 21st, but someone signed in?
That's just adjourned, correct?
Yep. It's adjourned to the 21st. Yeah, I saw the note on there. 626, Irma and Jose Cruz.
Good morning, my name is Jose Cruz.
Good morning. An offer of 1,000.
I accept.
We'll accept it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
642, Maximum Wines and Spirits.
Good morning. Francis Buscemi for the applicant Maximum, which with me today is the principal of the applicant, Max Premuna, and the manager of the applicant, Paul Wang.
Now, this application was denied, and then you just came right back and filed another application.
The application,
What's changed?
I wasn't on the initial application, Mr. Chairman. The application was denied on PCNA. Instead of timely filing for reconsideration, that wasn't done. That's must have slipped through the cracks, I guess, I don't know, with prior counsel. But so a new application was filed. I came in the process about 2/3 of the way through the new application being filed. I wasn't on the initial application.
All right.
The second application as well.
I mean, you've got a legal right to do it, but it certainly slows the process down for all other applicants if we're going to have people refiling applications right after they get denials. But what's changed? Why should we see this differently?
Right. And I'd like to address those issues. I realize it's not a reconsideration, but I've based what I provided to the board similar to a reconsideration. Under the circumstances, since we have the disapproval reasons of the Liquor Authority, and there were two main reasons with the number of stores in the area. The two main reasons were that the applicant failed to submit or demonstrate that there was any change in the area's population or in the demographics of the area.
The first issue I asked you to address is, I know it was a concern of mine, we've got a store that's a 1/10 of a mile away, then we've got two stores that are 2/10 of a mile away. So I'd like you to address that, the saturation.
The businesses, the existing surrounding stores We don't see that we are going to be really impacting the surrounding stores. Our method of operation is very much different. One of the closest stores, Yifeng Corp., I think the closest store at 135 Division Street, that's a bulletproof store. Our method of operation is so much different in the type of product that's going to be carried and the way it's going to be handled that we feel we have a much, we're making available things that the other package stores do not make available to the public. And the population issue, this is a highly densely populated area which has dramatic change, which has been going on and is continuing to go on. And that this store is going to be Maximum Wine and Spirits would be a very good fit the way this area has been changing, and will benefit the consumers and the residents of the area in ways that the other stores do not. And that's what my letter and supporting documentation address.
Okay. All right, we'll hear from the opposition.
Good morning. First and foremost, Chairman, best of luck and thank you for your years of service. The up and down overhaul of the authority will affect licensees and the public for years to come. My name is Howard Levine. I represent the objectants Ocean Wine, Yifeng Corp., R&S Liquor, Delancey Wine, and Chin Kong Inc. It's respectfully submitted that nothing has changed since this full board heard the application at the end of August 2014. As council explained, there was no request for reconsideration. There was no action at Article 78 to challenge the determination. Rather, 6 weeks later, they simply filed an identical application in every respect. It's the same corporation at the same address, run by the same principal for the same stated purpose. The information that was submitted to the board in August remains exactly the same as it is today. The population of the area is dense, but it shows that it is in decline. The forecast for the end of 2014 was a decline of 0.67%, whereas New York State as a whole is scheduled to rise 1.96%. The board found that there are 3 licenses within 0.3 of a mile. That remains the same. 11 package stores within half a mile. That remains the same. There was no evidence then, and there is no evidence now, that the existing licensees are not meeting the community's demand. We have 4 of the objectants here, if the board would like to hear from them, that they are servicing the community, that their sales are flat or there are very small increases, and that there's been no change since they submitted their opposition back in August. There are several licenses within a very short walk from the applicant's premises, and there's nothing to suggest that the public's convenience or advantage is going to be promoted. There is no change in any of the facts that supported the application in August to the facts that supported the application in the beginning of October. And it's respectfully submitted that since there's been no change, the vote of the board should not change as well.
All right, thank you. I'm ready to vote. Yeah, just briefly, please.
Yeah, well, I want to highlight because, I mean, certain...
Mr. Buscemi, your client is which one of the gentlemen behind you?
Max.
Okay, and the other gentleman?
And this is the manager, Paul Wang, who was an owner in a liquor store, which he sold. He had some medical issues. He doesn't want to be an owner, but he would help out as being a manager and operating at the premises. But I believe the statements that are made are not accurate. I've submitted documentation to you. The 2 issues were demographics and what would this store be doing that the other stores aren't doing. And to that end, the demographics I want to address first clearly. I mean, I gave you reports from CB3. I've given you other articles. To say that this population is not increasing, is disingenuous. Everything, higher income in the households, continue to increase income since 2000. Market rate housing and high-end retail continues to grow. How is this area changing? And that's what wasn't addressed in the first application. The percentage of white and black residents has increased in this area, while the number of Asians has decreased. And that's the report coming out of CB3. Also, I provided you with other articles. Chinatown has undergone tremendous gentrification. There's currently a building boom, and I don't think anyone can say that that's not happening. We have new luxury hotels, luxury condos. Again, the articles indicate that the white population is growing faster than in any other part of the city. The white population has increased 19% in the past decade alone. You have 26 luxury residential buildings that have been recently built or undergoing construction in Chinatown. You have 25 hotels, 118 high-end boutiques and cafes. Right on this block where the applicant is located, at 8698 Canal Street, you have a 17-story mixed-use building being erected. I provided a demographic survey as well, based on census, in the zip code, because that was what was brought up at the first, on the first application. The population has increased since 2010. It's continued to, it's forecast in 2010 it was 80,617 in that zip code, and by 2019 it's expected to be over 89,000 people. I mean, you're talking about tremendous building growth. They're building all of this not because population is decreasing, it's because it's increasing. The applicant, and I don't think it was fully addressed in the first application, and what Mr. Wong did at his store, I think it was 34th Street store, was he specialized in boutique and craft spirits, boutique varietal wines and craft spirits. We believe we've gone to these other stores, and there's a huge gap as to what's not being provided in those categories. You've got, those stores are basically buying their products, for the most part, from Southern and Empire, which is fine, but that's the more common commercial labels. We contacted 8 boutique distributors. We're going to be using over 15 boutique distributors specializing in varietal and craft product. The 8 boutique distributors that we contacted indicated that the closest surrounding stores bought none or very little product from them. We went as far as we were able to get a letter from one of those stores, Dreyfus Ashley and Company. That letter from the director indicates that no product, 0 product was purchased from Dreyfus Ashley and Company from any of these surrounding
And what products do they sell?
They sell wine. They sell wine from all around the world.
Wine from where?
Predominantly France, but they have other wineries in Oregon and.
So what's so unusual about that? Wine coming, I'm sure these stores sell wine from France and Oregon.
Well,
just because you found 8 companies that other people don't happen to be doing business with, there's hundreds of wholesalers in the state.
Understood, but
if the best you can tell me is that they sell wine from France and Oregon, I don't see what that adds to public convenience advantage when we've got 5 stores within 3/10 of a mile.
Predominantly
That's not, by the way, what your counsel was representing. He was talking about crafts, about unusual wines, and what you're talking about, France and Oregon.
Mainly like the wines, the versus boutique versus commercial items.
Right, I got it. Your lawyers said that 3 times already. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Buscemi?
Yes, it's also the method of operation in addition, which will include Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I provided some articles on that. The internet footprint is extremely important in the retail trade in general these days.
All right, I think we're ready to vote.
Just respond
Very briefly, please. Yes, briefly.
Looking at the application.
Speaking to the mic so the oral record is accurate.
Looking at the application, they represented the first time around that they will not employ a manager, and they represented the second time around that they will not employ a manager. So to have someone show up today as the manager is a little bit questionable. Again, I just want to repeat that there's absolutely no change from August to now in the area.
Don't repeat, please, because we've got to move the calendar.
Just with regard to the manager, the application was amended.
Okay.
Personal questionnaire was provided to the Liquor Authority.
All right. Let's vote.
I deny the application. Based on the information you submitted, isn't overwhelming justification to add another store, especially the distances hasn't changed. The population has increased somewhat, but not significantly, and gentrification no doubt is occurring, but it doesn't warrant another store. Not at this time, maybe in another year or so, but not right now. So I deny it.
I agree. As I mentioned, there's 5 stores within 0.3 of a mile. One of those stores is 0.2 of a mile away, and a license was issued to them in October of 2013. Closest store is just 1/10 of a mile away. And perhaps, as Commissioner Green said, sometime down the road, but I think the public is adequately served now. Thank you.
684, Hearth Restaurant Investors.
Hello.
Give your name, please.
Marco Canora. I'm the chef and owner of Hearth Restaurant.
Okay, this is an alteration application that Community Board 3 is opposing.
Correct.
Yep. Okay. Just one question I have. In their resolution, they talk about you seeking an upgrade. I'll just find it. Actually, you should scratch that.
Well, I did have a question as it relates to the community board discussed the tree guards.
Correct.
That you're actually removing them in order to do the sidewalk?
Not the case. You know, the first meeting at CB3, the trees came into question and the health of said trees. We planted those trees over 10 years ago. We've been on that corner for 11 years. So we've been maintaining and taking care of those trees that beautify our corner for almost 11 years now. And we are not removing the tree guards. We reduced the amount of our chairs and tables to accommodate the fact that we wouldn't have to remove those tree guards. Those trees are very meaningful to the restaurant and to the community and to us. We planted them and we take care of them year after year. So there's nothing negative that will happen to those trees.
What are your proposed hours? 'Cause I think that was one of the bones of contention between you and the community board.
11. So Saturday and Sunday we have brunch. So 11 to 11. The other days we open at 5:30. We open at 6 until 10. Sunday through Thursday, and Friday and Saturday until 11. We have been a proper restaurant for 11 years. We've never been a bar. We haven't had a single mark on our license, whether liquor license or community board, for 11, our tenure, which is 11 years.
How many tables and chairs will be out?
9 tables and 18 chairs. The original application started at 32 chairs, and then it was down to 24 chairs, and now we're down to 18 chairs. We have to install retractable awnings around the corner, and all of the work we've done up until now. So, this thing's going to cost close to $25,000. Anything under 18 chairs, I'm not looking.
The community board had it at, I believe, 6 tables and 12 chairs.
We got approval from from DCA for 9 tables and 18 chairs. With Rosie Mendez, we sat at a hearing with our local city council member and got approval from Rosie Mendez for those
But the
9 and
submission,
18.
the submission to the community board was for the total, the 9 tables and 18 seats? Because they denied it with the total of being the 6.
Yeah, they proposed 6 tables and 12 chairs, and we did not accept that.
I see 3 tables and 6 chairs here. I think they came
The
down.
July 30th?
Yeah, and the July 30th letter, they were talking even lower. So it's what they wanted them to agree to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ready to vote?
You did state the hours. What were the hours again?
Saturday and Sunday, we do brunch, so from 11 to 11 p.m. The other days, we open at 6, Friday and Saturday till 11, Sunday through Thursday until 10.
I would consider, with the amount of chairs that the community board, to kind of negotiate between the number that they've proposed and what you're seeking, to come down to at least minimize your tables and chairs. What would you? Go ahead.
We minimized from 32 down to 18 with steps in between. We can't really justify minimizing any more than 18 seats around the entire length. We only have 2 tables and 4 seats on the avenue, and 6 tables and 12 seats on the street. We're meeting all the DCA requirements, and the trees that were a problem are no longer a problem. This is a product of our 65% increase in rent. We renewed our lease for 10 years. I never sought after sidewalk seating before because it was never something I really thought fit with kind of the style of our restaurant. But this is something we're doing to remain viable and to keep my 65 employees employed.
Understandable, but you would also have to balance the needs of, the community of being able to walk through that side, on that sidewalk, as well as the community residents appreciating the fact that you are not going to remove the trees and the guards and to complement the block that they live on. So balancing that, the wants and needs of both entities, your establishment and the needs of the community, the community board denied the application. I would want to balance it and allow you to have this alteration, but with the minimal amount of seating, according to what the community board had suggested. They still denied the application even with the minimal seating, but I think I would even consider the 6 tables instead of the 9 that you've seem to agree on, or at least you were agreeing to minimize the original number of tables. I'm actually going against what the community board is recommending, and they wanted to deny this application for the alteration. The suggestion I'm making is that it's going to be limited to the 6 tables.
6 tables and 12 seats?
Yes, but you need 2 votes to actually be able to make that alteration. But that's my suggestion, Chairman.
So you would follow the community board outline of 3 tables on each portion?
Yeah.
Of the
Chairman, could I just ask a question? I understand that you worked at Kraft and other restaurants there. Did they all have outdoor seating?
No, Kraft and Gramercy Tavern did not have outdoor seating because they didn't have the required space to have that be allowed.
All right, so instead of 9 tables and 18 chairs, you're talking about 6 tables and 12 chairs. Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Green. I know there's a lot of concern in that area about too much crowding on the sidewalks.
Yeah, the opposition came from Avenue A Block Association, which is over 500 feet away from my restaurant.
But it's we've got the community board opposing it, though, not just the Block Association. So I agree with Commissioner Green. I'll approve it on that basis.
Okay.
All right. So so we're approving the 6 tables and 12 seats.
And at some further down the road, can I come back and try to get more seats?
Yes. Yes.
12 seats at the investment of what this is costing me is really, the cost-benefit analysis does not make any sense whatsoever.
Give it at least a year, and then you can come back. You notify the community board, but you can come back and make the application here, obviously, whatever they say. Yes, but you give it a year. All right?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Calling an item out of order, it's 652 S Management Group.
Good morning, Alan Gardner for the applicant. We have with us, and I want to thank Michael Jones and the authority for accommodating an earlier request to videotape the 500-foot hearing, and we have a videographer with us again today who is unobtrusively going to record this. He is doing a documentary on the travails and adventures of opening this restaurant. There was opposition at the 500-foot hearing. I don't know if there's anyone appeared that is appearing in opposition today.
Is anyone present in opposition? If there is anyone, please step up. We do have material in our file that you're aware of in opposition. It doesn't appear there's anyone present, though. Go ahead.
This is an application for a what we hope will be a world-class restaurant, a very small restaurant with 42 seats, operated by Gunter Seeger, whose reputation is well documented in the application. We believe that this is an absolutely perfect location for this type of restaurant. The hours are unobjectionable. The opponents really conceded that there wasn't really anything that they were objecting to about the restaurant, other than the fact they just didn't want another restaurant, I guess, near where they live. We'd be glad to answer any questions you have. I think this is a perfect application for that's in the public interest. With what I cannot see anything really negative about the application.
Do you have anything?
Well, specifically, when you met with the community board, what are the hours that you proposed that this restaurant would operate?
I think the hours we proposed are contained in the community board's resolution. I think it was 1 o'clock that we have not changed those hours.
Last reservation at 10:30.
So you close at 1?
Yes, closing at 1.
7 days a week?
6 days.
Close Sundays.
Okay. And even with that, negotiating with the community board, they did not recommend any hours less than the 1 o'clock closing?
I was not retained at that time. There was no discussion of earlier hours?
No.
So I guess in that sense, the hours are unobjectionable to the community board.
Mr. Gardner, the application is a question whether will there be security personnel, yes, no, and neither box is checked. Can you just clarify
Oh, that should be no. I thought we had corrected that.
Okay. Anything?
Yeah, Carter, was it Carter Booth? I'm looking for his correspondence.
When the applicant appeared before the full community board, he brought with him the 799 signatures in favor, and those signatures do not seem to be reflected in the resolution that was adopted by the full board.
But we did receive a significant amount of signatures.
Look at that, if that's what you were looking for.
Yeah.
It's right at the end.
Okay,
Those signatures were part of the record at the 500-foot hearing. I don't think the community board has raised any objections that could be negotiated or further compromised with. The backyard that's going to be used as an herb garden, I don't think they raised the backyard as an issue. I don't think they raised noise in the restaurant as an issue. Just that they suggested we go find a different place that had been previously licensed.
Being that you didn't have any stipulations made with the community board, one of the concerns I know is in that area, there's quite, the nightlife that goes on, and the concern in the past has been the crowds and people lining up to go into establishments and the problems that create. I think even though the community board denied the application just based on the submission of the method of operation, the only modification I would request is that it would be a midnight closing to start with. Everything that was identified, I know there were community residents that appeared at the 500-foot as well as at the community board, was concerned about the hours of operation. But they made no modifications. I would say 1 o'clock on the weekends and midnight on the weekdays. So that would be Friday, Saturday till 1. And the rest of, you're not open on Sundays, but the remaining days, midnight.
Well, I think I would have two responses to that. One is that this is really a large area, the meatpacking district. It really, if you're measuring 500-foot licenses, you're really potentially measuring 1,000 feet across. There are parts of the meatpacking district that really do have more of that nightlife and crowds. This part of Hudson Street is really not heavily trafficked. It's really a quiet block. And as far as
I think the residents want to keep it that way.
Well, and it will be quiet, but I think, and Gunther, you can tell me if I'm correct or not, but a 12 o'clock closing really interferes with a late seating. This kind of restaurant is a
but
kind of restaurant.
The last reservation was at 10 or 10:30?
Well, people need, for a restaurant of this caliber and this style of service, I think they certainly need a lot more than an hour and a half for a leisurely first-class dinner. And unless that's acceptable to you, I think there would be a real problem with rushing with an earlier closing, or it would mean losing some late reservations, which of course is part of the financial projections. So, you have anything to add to that?
Yes. We plan to serve an 8-course meal for our guests, and it would be very difficult by 10:30 last reservation for them to get through it, we would have to like really push them, and for the price each guest will spend there, this would be a very negative.
Would this be a price fixed meal?
Yes.
And what would it cost?
$135 a person.
There was no objections
I'm
by
okay
the...
with the 1 o'clock. It's small. It's a high-end place.
What's
Kids
the
aren't going to be going
maximum
there.
occupancy?
Well, we originally planned 42 seats. It looks like it's not even going to be more than 38, and it could be even go down to 36.
But the maximum is?
By the time we finish, yes.
All right, we'll vote.
If you're going to make sure that the last seating will be 10:30 and you close at 1 a.m. sharp, not, 1:15, 1:30, because one of the concerns that the residents in prior licensing were concerned that in any portion of that area, people are coming out of the restaurants and the nightlife establishments and create a problem for the residents. So if you can say that your restaurant will close at 1 a.m., then I would approve. But I have your commitment that you're closing at 1 a.m.?
Yes, yes.
Well, you'll have our commitment, too. It'll be on the license if it is approved, so.
There is a restaurant immediately next door. I don't know what the hours are there, Fatty Crab.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's a
later,
busy
maybe
place.
later hours.
They're later.
Yeah. That is later than?
Yeah,
Yes.
we take 12:30 reservations.
No.
So, could be that the traffic use, leaving the
As long
restaurant
as
you
it's
see
closed, it
is from,
should not
is
be-
not from ours, it's from Fatty Crab.
Well, as long as you can guarantee that's you're closed, there should be absolutely no one around at 1:05.
All right, and I approve it, too. I think it's a high-end, small restaurant. I don't think it's the kind of place that's going to cause the kinds of problems that disrupt communities. So I approve. Good luck.
Thank you. And personally, all the best to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You too. Same to you.
Mr. Gardner, did you want that other one item? 571, 683 grand.
This is a conditional no contest.
This is the place that now serves Hot Pockets?
They've instituted a menu with Hot Pockets, yeah.
Hot Pockets, Marie Callender's, chicken pot pies, and Stouffer's macaroni and cheese.
What do you think of the menu? Proposed menu?
I mean, because didn't they go from like a meat, they were offering cheese and
Yeah.
platters.
Cheese plates
and
and
then now
empanadas,
it's the Hot
yeah.
Pockets.
But it's only, it does meet some criteria.
All right.
All right, I'll accept the 4,500.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thanks.
532 through 535, AJK Cafe.
Good morning. Law Offices of Robert Race by Louis Chisari, 306 Atlantic Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, on behalf of the licensee. Good morning, Your Honors.
Okay, these are findings after hearing. Some were dismissed. Ready?
Yeah.
If I may quickly.
Oh, please, because it's going to make a difference.
Yes. Obviously, after doing the hearings, as far as the posting of the signs, we've taken the position the signs were hanging at all times. They're there now. You can.
This is going to be the, 6th or 7th sale to minor since about 2007. You haven't conformed to the application. This is the second occurrence. There's no food. Is there a kitchen here?
Yes, there is a kitchen. There is a kitchen. There
Why
is a
no
menu.
food?
I have food.
But at the time our investigators were there, you had no food.
No, he's just giving me a hard time over the prep area.
Yeah, there was food, there was a menu, they could have ordered food, they did not like the prep area that.
He said it wasn't big enough.
It was not a big enough prep area for the food. Again, I think that's a matter of opinion. As for the sale to minor, if you look at the facts, it was actually sold to the overage police officer who then handed it to an 18-year-old or 19-year-old auxiliary police officer. Mr. Kennedy has, he did reprimand his security at the time for even allowing that person in.
Let me just go back one step. For the no food, I have no food for sale. There was no food prep area. You're saying that there was a food prep area and food was available at that date and time.
Yes, and that's what Mr. Kennedy testified to at the hearing.
I provide the menu and everything at the hearing.
Yeah, the menu, but what food do you prepare? You actually prepare every item that's on your menu?
Yes, we do.
How many items? Because I don't have a copy of your menu.
We have everything from pizza to chicken wings to all potato skins. We do 6 appetizers plus pizza. We've been doing that for forever. The only issue was he just said to me if you could make room to have more of a bigger prep area. I do macaroni. I do a lot of
But on your website, it says now serving food with an exclamation part.
Yes.
As if before you were not serving food.
We always were serving food, but we never met it. It was never, as you can see, it's a relatively limited, menu, but it's not something we proclaim. But if we have food, we do a lot of pizzas.
You used to have on your website that you could order food to be delivered there and eat it there.
That is correct, because what we have at some stages is we do some parties, and some people, it was just something that my actual marketing guy came up with as a...
No, you're saying that now you're selling food because you used to have a whole section on your website of come and order in whatever you want here. We don't have food. You can sit here and have the Chinese takeout.
But at the time of the inspector was there, the menu was in place, and they were preparing those foods. That's what was testified to at the hearing.
And the ALJ didn't find that credible. He found the investigator's testimony that there was no food credible, and I distinctly remember your website talking about, we don't have food, but order it in here, and you can sit at the bar and eat it.
Well, the reason we did that was because we were losing out on business. On my website, we were losing business because people wanted, Chinese food. They would, people wanted different options. There's a lot of restaurants in
Who goes
here.
to an Irish bar who wants Chinese food? As somebody, you go to a Chinese restaurant.
But unfortunately, I have, in my past, worked in other bars where they wanted quite a variety
You'd be surprised.
Well, I don't accept your argument that bars need to have order-out service for ethnic food to supply to their customers. As a general principle, I'm sorry, I don't accept that. Are you ready to vote?
Yes.
Yep.
I'll dismiss charges, 1 in the first proceeding as well as 1 and 2 in the second and 2 in the fourth proceeding. For all the remainder of $12,000.
I agree.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
569. La Buena Vida Tropical.
Okay. This was also fact-finding after here.
And alternate finding.
This again,
Oh,
same
yes,
appearance in
yes.
Mr. Race's office by Louis Cesari. Yes, this was then sent back for rehearing on one charge. To address mitigation, my clients have entered into a stipulation with the city to reorganize how they do business. I'm more than happy to provide a copy with that to the board. They have replaced the security company. They have a new security company. They are in the process of installing surveillance cameras, scanners, things to bring it up to what we believe the board would hopefully allow them to continue to operate as an orderly premise.
Okay.
We understand they have had plenty of issues. They're attempting to now correct all those issues. Like I said, I can provide a copy of the stipulation with the city for them going forward in operation.
Definitely do supply the settlement Is there anything other that they're requiring, the scanners and?
If I may have 1 second to look at the stipulation? Thank you. Yes, they obviously to bring in the new security company, to check in with the 121st precinct every week to make sure there are no problems, there are no outstanding complaints from the community. They are getting hiring a new manager to run the place. I believe they're in the process of attempting to get that. They had 45 days to put the security cameras in. They're in the process of doing that at this point. Again, full compliance with the 121st. So in other words, if there's a problem, they're to call them right away.
So no scanner?
Yes, and that's down there, and I believe it's number 15.
I just would like to see, at a later date, you could submit the receipt for the scanner.
Absolutely, Your Honor. We will provide all that documentation to the board as soon as it's available.
Yep.
I'll dismiss charges 3, 4, and 5, and I adopt the alternate finding, including charge 1, 2, and 6, and 7, and a penalty of $7,500.
Yeah, I agree. The essential difference between the alternate finding and the original finding by the prior ALJ was the prior ALJ did not think that an 18-year-old sitting at a bar with a Corona beer in his hand constituted a sale to minor because there was no evidence of the sale. And my feeling is maybe if that 18-year-old had been in a dark corner of a very, very crowded establishment, the argument might have some merit. But when somebody's sitting in a bar with a beer in their hand right in front of the bartender as I read this hearing, I think it's a fair inference that they obtained that beer in the bar in a manner that constitutes a violation. So $7,500, I agree.
Mr. Cesari, you also, did you sign in for 570? This is the same.
Yeah. Yes.
That's okay, because I didn't have that on my list.
That's the next one, and again,
570?
570 would be the next one.
The same principle.
Same principles. Again, the same arguments before. We've instituted all new procedures and proceedings to conform.
Well, this was 570, right?
Yeah.
I had concerns about charge 2, the sale to Intox, that this was a situation where the bucket of, beer sitting at the bar and then it's passed out on the bus.
Yeah.
I would want that to be an alternate finding.
I'm fine with that.
Because, this one person was found at the bar with a bucket.
Absolutely understand that, and I've explained to my clients how that can't be allowed to happen, and that's, again, part of the stipulation with the city for operation.
Send it back for alternate, or I'll increase the penalty?
Yeah, I would just increase the penalty.
Because originally, my concern was to send that back, because I found that that charge should have been sustained. But at least as it relates to council, they asked to withdraw charges 4, 5, and 6. And as to the remainder, I have $6,500.
I agree.
So there would be $7,500 on the first and $6,500 on the
Yes.
second. Thank you.
Yep. Yep.
587 through 589, Lestrez Portillos. Is that you?
Yes, Your Honor. For the licensee, again, Robert Race by Louis Cesari. At this time, there's a no contest offer of $8,500.
This is 587?
Yes, through 590.
Okay, thank you.
I thought the offer was too low.
I had a counteroffer of cancel and bond. In order for them to keep their license, I'll take a step back and do a fine.
We do have other cases pending.
You have other cases pending? All right, how about we do?
I would do 10,000.
I'd go higher. How about 12,000 on this one?
Okay.
Okay, 12,000.
Thank you, Your Honor.
531 Seawood Park Liquors.
Again, for the licensee, Robert Race's Law Offices by Louis Chisari. I have the licensee with me, Mrs. de Blasio. Your Honors, I ask you to look at the record of what we believe occurred in violation of, I believe, the Alcohol Beverage Control's own rules.
I do think an illegal sale was made, but I do think there's some mitigation here that I would take into account. Initially, it was refused, and then they say the undercover was persistent.
I reduced it to 2,000.
Yeah, all right, I'll do 2.
Thank you, Your Honor.
568 355 West 41st.
Once again, Robert Race by Louis Chisari.
568.
Mr. Chair, sorry, it wasn't a letter submitted by you, but it was submitted by Mr. Race, and he claims that the ALJ is biased.
He
says, I don't know why she is clearly wrong and seems to always take the side of the police, which I'm interpreting as she's saying the ALJ is biased. The last sentence of the third paragraph. Mr. Race have anything else to support his offensive claim?
Sorry, is that the letter of February 21st?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got what I think is a very simple matter, a police officer with an auxiliary, and Mr. Race seems to think that there's some grand conspiracy here.
True, I believe there...
It's rather ironic in view of the horrendous history of sales to minors that your client has.
Yes. Again, unfortunately, the licensee could not be here today. This is his son who manages with his father. His father had a personal matrimonial action that he's had to appear in today up in the Superior Court of Connecticut. I can give the docket information for you commissioners. He wasn't able to be here. Yes, there were several problems as the licensee has gotten a little older. They have entered into a stipulation with the city to correct the problems.
So there's a nuisance abatement?
Yes. And so we have hired a new security company. They have scanners, yes, and security cameras, and they are attempting to bring everybody up to speed.
So that would seem to contradict Mr. Race's statement in his letter that the police officer's testimony is completely suspect.
I believe in this particular matter, it's taking a position. Maybe the police officer didn't remember everything exactly, and Mr. Race advocating for his client a little strongly than I may have on those particular points.
Well, he's not just advocating. He's making a very strong accusation against the ALJ, and I'd like to know if there's anything more than this statement that Mr. Race has to support it.
No. I don't believe so. I believe that's Mr. Race's opinion. It's not necessarily my opinion. I was there, too, and I heard the testimony.
All right, we'll move on. Let's impose a penalty.
I mean, based on the adverse history, meaning that this is their third underage sale, I have 10,000.
10,000?
Yeah, I have 10 also.
Thank you, Your Honor.
655 Vernon Wine and Liquor.
Francis Buscemi for the applicant, Vernon Wine and Liquor. With me today is Mr. Wang, the principal of Vernon Wine and Liquor. This is a removal application. Moving from 918 Main.
Hold on. Is this 665?
Sorry, 655.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I had 6.
Don't listen to me.
655. Vernon Wine and Liquor. All right, go ahead.
Yep, moving from 918 Main Avenue to 315 27th Avenue, Long Island City.
I don't have All right, is there any opposition, President? All right, we'll vote.
I approve.
Yeah, there are no protests. There are good distances between the stores. It's on a different street than any of the other stores, so we approve.
$631, NR Amber.
This is an offer in compromise, request for a $3,500 civil penalty.
Okay, 3,500. I accept.
I accept.
Do you have more?
What's wrong with that rule amendment, the 686, was it?
That's next, yeah. 686, it's the proposed rule.
Mr. Mailer's unable to be here today. I know he submitted a letter on behalf of the Retailers Alliance.
Mr. Mailer offered several arguments against Mr. Danow, but he didn't offer one argument in support of the rule.
Well, I think he's indicating that they are in favor of the rule, and the argument being that initially I think the wholesalers were saying that this would be a way for retailers to violate the law by perhaps selling these products or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to suspect that would happen. And Mr. Mailer cited a number of cases indicating you can't speculate. I believe the wholesalers withdrew their opposition. I believe this is something that's been proposed by the Liquor Authority, not by the Retailers Alliance. The Retailers Alliance is simply in favor of it.
Okay. Mr. Danow, do you want to say anything?
I just, Stephen Danow for Empire Merchants, and we have made a submission. We did withdraw on that point. We made a submission on the other points. I'm here if there are any questions. Otherwise, a written submission, won't waste time. I know that you read the things that we put in, and I appreciate that.
I have no questions.
Questions?
Okay, so we'll vote.
Yeah, I approve.
It's approved.
Adopted.
Thanks.
Adopting the rule?
Yes.
Have a good day and best of luck to you.
$541 through $543, Bakery and Restaurant, El Sabor Latino.
Good morning, members of the board. Chairman John Hirsch, Peekskill, New York, for the licensee. Judge, we have a decision by an unbiased ALJ that sustained 2 out of the 6 charges. I would just call the board's attention in leveling the penalty to correspondence from the city of Peekskill submitted to the Liquor Authority in February of 2014, where they indicate that the only prior time the licensee was before the board was for an issue with ingress and egress through the back door, which is off the parking lot. Other than that, I believe the record shows that the licensee has a clear history before the board. I'd like that to be taken into consideration in mitigation of the fine or punishment that's going to be leveled.
What are they doing with respect to the service of food? 'Cause
Food
there's
is
no
in place.
Do we have a menu?
I submitted the menu at the time of the hearing before ALJ Cullen. The licensee's wife testified. The issue that Judge Cullen found adverse was whether or not on the date of the incident, July 7, 2013, that there was food being served that day. But there is food being served now. This is the only...
But the kitchen is actually being utilized.
The kitchen is open.
I mean, it was a changing, staging.
This was an isolated incident, and it was the only time that the applicant was brought before the municipality and before the liquor board on this charge. And if the board takes a look at the record, the prior fine that the applicant did pay was related to a locked rear door where people were coming in and out. Not the fact that there was a claim that there was no food. So there is food there.
But there was, prior history was unlicensed security guards.
Unlicensed security guards.
This was isolated. Are you referring to the women using the kitchen as
no,
a
the
dressing
no
room
food.
or to the no
chairman
food?
asked about the no food.
Do you have an operating kitchen?
Yes.
Is that hard?
'Cause here, it's like everybody's walking in and out of the kitchen. like
On
the
July
party.
7, 2013, the ALJ found that the kitchen was inoperable, not working. There
And
was no
why
proof.
was it inoperable that day
They
and
had
not
there
other
was
days?
She found a party in session that day
Yeah, why was it inoperable that day?
because there was a party late at night.
I see. So you're saying if we go back tomorrow, the kitchen will be in operation, all the normal business?
Go back
hours?
today, and every day since then. There were disco lights, there was dancing, the chairs were pushed against the wall, but it's a
I've submitted
full-fledged restaurant.
photos. I submitted photos of somebody cooking in a kitchen.
Right.
And a menu.
Right. It's in the record.
All right, I'm ready, huh? If you-
So there's no more parties using the kitchen as a dressing room?
We learned our lesson well.
Short of-
And let me add, there is a cultural element on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, in the area where we're from, where laborers...
Where are you from?
What's that?
You said there's a cultural relation from where you're from. Where is that?
Up in Peekskill, New York. I mean, we have a big day labor community. And on the weekends, they will go, and they'll eat, and they will have a beer, and they will dance. And dancing, we understand.
So you
The
get a
licensing
you get a cabaret license.
It's not permitted in the city.
And
it
then
won't-
you don't dance.
And it's not going to be tolerated. And ALJ found it.
Yeah, but it was a little more than dancing. I mean, usually if you have
Yeah.
dancing, you don't have women getting dressed and doing their makeup in the kitchen.
Yeah, and moving tables they set up a dance floor is what they did. This wasn't just
They
somebody
moved the tables and
somebody
she-
wiggling to the music.
She was-
They set it up as a dance party.
And they haven't done it since.
All right, but your client does have, in those 4 or 5 years he's been operating, he's got adverse history. So he hasn't been a particularly observant licensee. There's nothing pending, is there?
No, this is it.
Yeah. All right.
I'll do 8,500.
8,500.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
556, Mr. Vino.
566.
556.
Okay.
Good morning, Chairman, and the board. My name is Michael Riley. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Vino. On my right is Santos Spagnolo, who is the sole shareholder, director of the corporation. I did submit a supplemental written statement in support, and rather than restate, because I know that the board...
Michael J. Riley?
Yes. I know that the board does read these, but if it has any questions, I would just...
Well, it looks like we have somebody in opposition. Why don't we hear from this gentleman, and then we'll get back to you.
Good morning. My name is Nan Zhang. I'm presenting Vintage Wine and Liquor. My office did submit a letter in opposition of Mr. Vino opening a business. Currently, there are approximately 4 establishments already in a less than 1 mile vicinity of where the place is going to be open.
You say, how far away are you? You say less than 1 mile.
It's 0.7 miles.
We have you at 1.6.
Based on our calculation, it was...
And how did you calculate it? What did you use?
We used the map that was on the website. That was a calculation. But compared to Long Island and the city, a point less than 1 mile is a huge difference. It's as if it's down the block due to the fact that everybody drives in Seaford, that's in Suffolk County. And we're asking the board to consider that there's already 4 in the less than a mile, which is unequal to a city of 1 block, and there's not change in any growth in population. And at this point, adding another liquor store into the area will significantly compromise our clients' business due to other disadvantage to the community as well.
You just received your license last September?
Yes, our client bought the business back in September, and The business is, it was steady, but it's not really growing as much as expected. However, by adding another new store would definitely compromise our client's business at this point.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll hear from you if you want to add any comments.
Thank you.
I am concerned that we've got the two closest stores are on the same street, and the closest store, which is about a mile away or less, the license there was issued less than 2 years ago. The third closest store, the gentleman we just heard from, that license was issued about 6 months ago. So that this would be the third store on Hicksville Road within about a mile if we were to issue it.
Yes. Just for clarification, when I went on the SLA's lamp site, when I put the address in, it came up with an incorrect spot on the map. So I did an on-site investigation and then did a user-specified point, which the crossroad being Hicksville and Duck Place. With that, there was 2 different lamp proximity reports. I've submitted that. I've also submitted that the area has increased. The median income has gone up $20,000 in less than 10 years. This is an affluent area. In addition, the objecting today, Vintage Wine and Spirits, put opposition in. According to my calculations, it was 1.2 miles away from the applicant, pursuant to the user-specified point. It's on Jerusalem Avenue. It's not on the same street, block. It's totally different.
Right, but we do have the 2 closest stores on the same street. Vintage is the third closest.
Right. He's also in a different town. He's not in Seaford. And his gross sales, it would be persuasive to the board if he brought in who he bought the license from, who he bought the store from, to show what they were and now what their gross receipts are. I've also submitted in support numerous signatures from people in the town stating that they want this place open. Additionally, we're not opening up a tremendous place. It is 960 square feet, of which 600 will be utilized for inventory. It's not going to have an impact on his business in any way, shape, or form, and it will actually help the neighborhood. I did go there personally. I went on site, and again, there are very, very, very few and far between liquor stores. The other ones that are listed are 5,000 square feet with over 3,000 items. That is something that my client can never compete with. His prices will not come close to going and undercutting them. They offer sales discounts, case discounts, which I've set forth. The Crossroads is the one that I'm actually referring to. And they put a protest in that there has been 6 new stores. My looking up and my investigation did not show any 6 new stores. According to their gross sales letter, they made $5 million in gross sales. And in 2014, during one of the worst years, they made $2.21 million for 6 months. Their income is going up, their gross sales are going up. So they cannot be negatively impacted.
If they made $5 million in 2011, why would 6 months at $2,200,000 be a big increase? It would seem, if you annualize that sales would have gone down.
Just one moment, I'm sorry. No, in 2013 as well. They made $5 million.
Yeah, but then you were citing the $2,200,000 figure as indicate for half of 2014 is showing that there's an increase. But I don't. The way I do the math, it doesn't add up. I acknowledge that the second half of a year, the sales are up somewhat because of the Christmas season, but that's not persuasive that their sales are increasing. Their sales seem to be flat over a 4-year period or slightly descending. Well, I don't see a sales increase.
This industry standard, it goes up 20% from the 6 months before because you have all the major holidays. People are home in their houses enjoying these holidays. And all the religions, they all celebrate. It goes up dramatically.
20% still doesn't get you over $5 million, so I still disagree with you. But let's move on.
What are the other questions that you have with regards to the other 2 liquor stores?
The question I have is that if we approve this, we'll have 3 liquor stores within a mile on Hicksville Road. That's my question.
Within a mile in Nassau, which
Yeah,
is
roughly within a mile of Hicksville Road. So, and everybody's traveling by car, so they're basically within a minute of each other. We've got 3 stores.
right, but this is the
Same
only one
road.
in Seaford.
What's the difference? It's
Well,
the same street.
But it's Seaford, and my understanding, and what I do, I live in Long Island,
Yeah.
and I go to where I live. I don't go outside. I want to contribute to the people that live and work in my area. I go specifically to there. I won't go and travel if it's a little cheaper or whatnot. I want to contribute to the area.
So you wouldn't drive a half a mile if somebody's selling something cheaper?
No, I
You
would
really
not.
wouldn't?
I would not.
Really? Huh? No.
Especially out there, because, you know, it's a very close-knit community.
All right, are you ready for that?
Is there anything further that I could add?
There's nothing I have.
No, I'm ready to
And all the gross sales receipts, there was only 2 objections, again, the one today, and the other one, which was Crossroads, that I think I've differentiated what my client is from them, and Vintage Wine Experience is 1.2 miles away. It's not very close at all. Again, it's not on the same avenue, it's not on the same street. I put also in the Census Bureau with regards to the median household incomes and how the house prices have been rising, which means that there's more money to spend on luxury items, things of this nature.
Speaking to the microphone, please.
How much people make does not contribute amount of alcohol they will consume. There's enough liquor stores around they can buy from. Unless the new store provides something extra or something new to the community, I don't see any reason how the income can contribute to opening up a new liquor store at this point.
What's fine?
I deny the application. I think it's a valid description that this would be the 3rd liquor store on that road. And it is within, I have 1.1 miles. And since you actually verified everybody drives, this isn't a walking community, you're within a minute of getting to any of these 2 stores that are already existing. Your client isn't offering anything specific that cannot be obtained in the area already.
What I would ask for is if this could be put over, and I would submit additional applications before the board makes a determination.
Additional application
No,
for,
a supplemental statement to show what and how your concerns would be addressed.
are any of the 2 liquor stores moving?
No, not
Okay,
that I'm aware
so
of.
that's not changing because I specified that this would be the 3rd store on that road within 1.1 miles.
The other stores are much larger. This is a small boutique type store.
This is a 960 square foot store. The closest store is 1,000 square feet.
600 will be used for.
All right, well, I don't know what the breakdown is on the other store, but let's
I deny the application.
and I deny it too, for the reasons that are stated. If your client can find a location where the stores wouldn't be as bunched, we might well act favorably on it, but this is
Despite it being
denied.
in a different town.
This is consistent with what we've done in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
585 Blue Liquor Corp.
Good morning.
Gene Anton for the applicant. Mr. Bijan Luani is here, support of the application.
All right, we've got opposition. Okay, why don't we hear from the opposition first?
Hi, my name is Selena Anderson, and I'm here to represent the owners of Tipsy who were unable to attend today.
What's your relationship with them?
I am the manager of operations and marketing for Tipsy.
Okay.
I would like to read the following statement on their behalf. Dear Chairman and Board, we are extremely alarmed by the application for a new package store submitted by Blue Liquor Corp. Tipsy is one of the 4 closest stores to the applicant's proposed location, and our business will be hurt if their application is granted. We are 0.3 miles from them. We are a small business that opened in November of 2013. Our losses for 2014, our first full year in business, were approximately $60,000. While our sales have steadily grown, we have yet to achieve monthly profitability on a regular basis. To the west, the market is totally saturated with well-established businesses battling new wine shops. To the north, there is little opportunity because of the location of the BQE. Directly to our south, we border on Pratt's large campus and housing complex, a church, and a convent. Our primary source of business has been to the east and southeast, the same area that Blue Liquor's sphere of business would encroach. While at first glance, the consumer base between the proposed package store and Tipsy may look different, our average bottle sale is actually only around $15, and most of our volume is in the $10 to $15 range. 20 to 25% of our sales are liquor. We are already serving a significant portion of the proposed store's customer base. The location of the proposed store is on the way from the subway to Myrtle Avenue. It will likely cut off one of our primary customer paths. It is also very close to some of our core residential customer locations on Toffee and Kent Avenues. These customers are already well served by our store, Wine Cave, Bouchon, and various delis and groceries. Adding a package store will lower all of our sales. Allowing Blue Liquor Corp's application to open so close to our store will, without a doubt, make it harder for us to stay in business. We are also concerned as business owners and as local residents about the impact on public safety of a public store located across from a large public housing complex. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. Amanda Neville, co-owner Tipsy.
We'll hear from you.
Thank you. I must say, first off, Tipsy wine shop, liquor store, it is a nice shop. It's nicely decked out, but what is missing predominantly is a full distilled, a full inventory of distilled liquors. It is predominantly a wine shop. It sounds to me that their objection is more of an objection to competition, which is really not a consideration by the authority. The opponent, again, is predominantly a wine shop. She indicated that it was about 20% of sales were dedicated to liquors, but she doesn't carry, or they don't carry, a full selection of liquors. They don't have Grey Goose. They don't have
What
Patron.
about the store that's closer? It's about, 0.2 of a mile? That's 6,000 square feet. I would think they carry a lot more, even if Tipsy doesn't carry it. I would think
Which
they
store is 6,000 square feet?
That's on 501 DeKalb Ave, Franklin.
501 DeKalb Ave is not 6,000 square feet. I believe it's
I
only
mean, I'm
900.
sure some of it's storage, but...
No, I believe it's a 900 square foot store, and it's bulletproof.
Yeah.
Franklin
Check
DeKalb
for
Liquors,
it.
Inc.?
Okay, let me check.
Okay. So that,
But you've been there and you're saying it's
it's
bulletproof?
900,
501.
approximately 900 square feet, and it's bulletproof. And it's further, I believe it's further east on DeKalb. We're west on DeKalb, going closer to Flatbush.
Did you check that?
You're more than 2 blocks away?
I believe it's 2.5 blocks away. The Lamp report is, I believe the Lamp report is incorrect in how many blocks it shows. It's technically it's about 2.5 blocks away, and we are directly diagonally across the street from the police department. And if I can just quickly go through some dynamically changing demographics in the neighborhood. This neighborhood is primarily Clinton Hill and Fort Greene. They've undergone a dynamic transformation over the past several years. You've seen 7.5% population growth. You have the median home sales price has gone up 40%, 40% in the last 2 years. You have crime stats, they're down 17.5% year to date. It is a highly dense area. Again, we don't believe that Tipsy or any of the liquor stores are adequately serving the community. Now, they may have losses, but I went to their website. They have a tremendous amount of wine. They have a tremendous amount of wine sales by wine club, internet sales. So they may be indicating that they have losses, but what's interesting is that they did say that the sales were increasing. Again, we don't believe that the other liquor stores are adequately serving the community. We are densely populated. Crime stats
You
are
keep
going.
saying the same thing, can you?
Yes, but I'm just trying to
Yeah,
reiterate.
we get it the first 3 times. Just so the record is clear, our records have been checked, and that the closest store, Franklin DeKalb Liquors, is on file as 2,400 square feet.
The gross sales letter that they submitted for this application, they put 6,000, but the prior gross sales letter, they put the dimensions total 2,400.
Yeah, so maybe it's just a mistake. So it sounds like 2,400 based on council's representation. Yeah, okay. Are you ready? Or do you...
This is going to be a open store, you said? Or is it
Open store, yes. It's diagonally across the police department. Again, the crime stats show that...
Yeah, I got it. You just said what the crime stats were.
And it's only 700 square feet.
You said that too a couple times. Wait a minute.
So I remember when Tipsy came to the board, and there was quite a bit of opposition in that area. And I'm looking at the gross sales because the reason I raised the 6,000 square feet, the sales are not, in proportion to the size that was declared. But now that Deputy Commissioner cleared it up, the closest store is about 2,500. But the sales in the area are not overwhelming based on the size of the stores that exist.
Well, if you look at Franklin DeKalb, that would be the closest store. It's further east. It's across the street from...
You say further east. They're about 2 blocks away, right?
Right, but there are also a bulletproof store that is not a welcoming store. So for whatever...
Tipsy's, let me just add, is Tipsy an open store, right?
Right. No, I wasn't talking about Tipsy. I was talking
No, I know,
about...
but I just wanted to make
Yes,
sure
they
that
are.
that's not unique. There's a store that already exists out of the closest four
Right,
that's
but-
not a bulletproof store.
Right, but they're also 0.3 of a mile away. And they're on the Myrtle Avenue corridor. We're on the DeKalb Avenue corridor. So I don't believe that the community immediately in our area is necessary. They're actually serving that community that's 0.3 of a mile away. They have the Myrtle Avenue corridor, which again, down the road, you're getting new condominiums built up, both on Myrtle and DeKalb. It's a dynamic neighborhood that's quickly expanding in an already dense area.
I'm ready to vote. I deny the application. I don't see that you warrant a store. There's existing stores that are not bulletproof that's serving the area. The sales of the closest store doesn't appear that another store, even though the sizing is adequate for the area, I don't see if the area warrants another store, so I deny.
I agree. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say, Commissioner Rosen, good luck in your future endeavors. I've been before this tribunal on both positive and negative sides, but I do wish you all the
Thank
best
you.
of luck in your future endeavors.
Same to you. Thanks very much.
590, Loyal Order of Moose. That's not, that doesn't sound right. It's an upstate one. Don't bother getting that one. Somebody had to sign in. I got the wrong number. Go to 561 through 563, Sylvan Operating.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Morning.
Commissioners. Thank you for hearing this reconsideration. We do have an offer for a conditional no contest plea.
Okay, could you state your name, please?
Oh, Tina Piette, I'm sorry, P-I-E-T-T-E, for Sylvan Operating LLC.
And your offer is 4,000?
Yes.
I'm ready to vote.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'll
Assume.
grant the reconsideration and accept the 4,000.
Agree.
Thank you.
Yep.
Have a good day.
You too.
Yes. Okay.
Great.
Great. All right, we're going to break just for a few minutes.
That's how it was. You know, it's probably were very slightly
Just that. Send me an email. I will, how about 10:30 and 11? I'll see you Friday morning.
It's Thursday.
I know, but I think I'm sure control them.
Oh, right, okay.
Ahí no, todavía no, ahí todavía no.
I don't want to contaminate everything. Okay. Where am I going? No, okay. I'm like.
Thank you.
Mm.
5:58. Oh, I need him back. Donald.
You got him.
Donald, I'm ready to go.
Noel, can you get Donald?
Can you guys see if Donald's outside?
There he is.
Oh, there he is. Donald? Good. You got all the bets in? You're in.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Continuing with the meeting, next item is 5:58. Tres Sabores.
Remember, we had an email from the mayor for this application. It says, please inform the members that regarding Trace Square Restaurant and establishments that sell their alcohol to Hempstead, the mayor wishes to retain the same policy regarding closing hours. That is, from Sunday to Thursday, such shop establishments should close by 12 a.m. and on Fridays and Saturdays, closing should be at 1 a.m. Given the high concentration of establishments that serve and sell alcohol in Hempstead, the mayor believes this policy will help to improve public safety and minimize other quality of life issues that result from the selling of alcohol. Mayor Whittington.
Yes. Good morning, by Lawrence Cara, on behalf of Tres Sabores. Next to me to my right is the president and owner of Tres Sabores, Alex Martinez. Initially, he had put in a change of operation. Unfortunately, he had his CPA put the change of operation order in. within the CPA's letter to the authority, the CPA indicated that Tres Sabores had already adopted the change of hours. Predicated upon that reading, it would be ludicrous to grant him a change of hours because it would seem that he had already adopted the change of hours prior to board approval. Such was not the case. In an effort to remedy the situation, I prepared a letter to the board dated January 29, 2015. I included an affidavit of the owner, an affidavit of his wife, photos demonstrating when the hours of operation are, being 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. In addition thereto, I met with the accountant, who was very fluent in Spanish but somewhat challenged in English, and I asked him the meaning of the letter that he had comprised, and he indicated to me that it was in error and erroneously written, that he had just dictated a draft to his secretary and had sent it off. My client had not seen that letter that Mr. Esquivel had sent off, but when we looked at it, it was somewhat atrocious, and as a result of same, he did volunteer and offer an affidavit indicating to the authority that he was not very well versed in English, and in retrospect probably should have not sent in the letter, in that it gave a wrong connotation of the conduct of the applicant. In addition thereto, the board has made it clear that not only can one ask for a method change, but also there has to be some basis or significant reason why. We are presently seeking to modify it from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and seek modification from 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. One of the significant reasons for this is, although the mayor has attempted to reduce hours of operation, the population is burgeoning. It is primarily Hispanic. It is a labor-intensive market. Not many people really have a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday weekend. It is a service-related industry. Many of the customers work from the hours of 3 or 4 in the afternoon till midnight, and quite frankly, the restaurants and the bars within the area become crowded at that time.
And that's been a real problem for this area, and the mayor has been here specifically to tell us that they have some very serious problems with alcohol, particularly late into the evening.
I don't know if the problem itself is generated by the alcohol, or is it something cultural, or is it the fact that you have a larger population, a greater density of people who are primary blue-collar and who work different hours than what we perceive the normal 9 to 5. They do not work 9 to 5. They're service-related. Monday nights is Monday Night Football, and more importantly, we all think Monday Night Football is the answer, but in this particular location, the answer is the soccer games come on Monday night because they're in Europe and they're in South America, so telecasts of the soccer games on many Mondays start at 1 a.m. in the morning and draw large crowds of people. My client really cannot participate in that customer base because he has to close at 2 a.m. And while you may say 2 a.m. is an ample time and we really shouldn't extend it to 4 a.m., the reality is many of the places are open and operating till 4 a.m. And to be fair to this gentleman, it's unfair to say that his restaurant, which consists of a CO of 78 occupants, should not be entitled to serve food.
Well, he did agree to the restricted hours of operation as a condition of his license. So in that sense, I don't think it's unfair. That was the quid pro quo when the village expressed concerns about a full premises license.
Most respectfully, Your Honor, he did that in June of 2008 when he submitted his first application. This is the first time that he now seeks to expand hours, and the basis of the expansion is really predicated upon the technology that is now available to these bar and restaurant owners, that they can now telecast or bring in various sporting events at different times, to which the community now is very receptive to.
But Deputy Commissioner, wasn't this before the board already for a method of operation change? And it was denied. So at that time, it was revisited, and I believe the mayor of Hempstead was actually here.
The basis of the denial, under my understanding, was predicated upon the erroneous information provided to the board, which I attempted to rectify.
You have a notice of pleading,
by
I'm
the
sorry.
affidavit. I'm sorry, ma'am.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you have a notice of pleading pending against your client for operating past his hours of operation.
I only received that 2 days ago. My understanding is it postmarked on March 5th. He received it in or about March 12th and brought it to my office. I have interposed a plea of not guilty and requested that a hearing be held. So I really cannot address, other than acknowledge that, yes, he received the correspondence. We did answer it in timely fashion, but I don't know the facts and circumstances surrounding that allegation or accusation at this time.
I'll tell you, our investigator went out there after you were here before the board. I had asked the investigator to go out there after you were here before the board. He was there on December 29th from 9:20 to 10:30, and people were there. He said there were tables occupied with customers, and there were instruments and microphones set up in the front of the right, and he was unable to tell if at that time, at 10:25, if alcoholic beverages were being consumed. And then on January 3rd, from approximately 1:30 a.m. to 2:35 a.m., he was there, and the lights were on, the open sign was on, the large screen TV was on. The employees started cleaning up at approximately 2:30 a.m. And that's it, that it was open and operating.
Yeah, and the original investigation that we did was based on police complaints. This wasn't a one-shot deal, and it wasn't an erroneous interpretation of an affidavit. They were regularly being open past the hours they agreed to.
Most respectfully, Your Honor, the issue here today was that there was one allegation that they were open. They paid a $1,000 fine. They modified their methods of operation, and they sought to extend their hours like most other places within the premises.
And I'm going to deny it because they willfully violated the hours they agreed to. And you ask first. You don't go ahead and do it first before and then ask.
Can I suggest that it simply be 589 as an alteration application that has a pending?
I'm sorry?
It's a request for.
Yeah, it's already been denied.
Judge, I was not present. Mr. Martinez did not appear. The only thing that was sent in, unbeknownst to me, was the letter of the accountant, which erroneously stated that he was remaining open throughout the period.
But we're not relying just on that. We're relying on our own file showing that there was a police referral saying that this place is open regularly beyond the hours it's supposed to be. And we went out and we corroborated that. It's that simple.
Okay, but what was the date of the police referral?
In April 2014.
Yes.
Our investigator visited the restaurant.
Yes, sure. That's true, Your Honor. And we admitted to that violation.
And we went there in May.
Yes, Your Honor. It was paid sometime in or about October 9th.
Yeah.
$1,000 payment was paid, and we were advised to move for a change of method operation at that time. And October 9th of 2014, we did so.
Right, and the village is opposing it, and we're not convinced that it would be appropriate here for your client to stay open, to change his hours from 10 a.m. on, say, a Friday night to 4 a.m. We're not convinced that would be good for the citizens of Hempstead. If somebody wants to watch a soccer game and have lots of alcohol while they're doing it at 4 in the morning, they could do it at home and not disrupt their neighbors in an area where there have been very frequent complaints about that sort of thing. So I vote to deny.
I do
Or
as well.
to affirm the denial. No? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
566 and 567, El Sav Enterprise.
Yes, once again, Lawrence Carroll for the applicant. Good afternoon. I'm sure as the board is well aware, this matter was initially held before Judge Nicholas Tessari on September 22nd, 2014. I was the attorney of record at that time. It comprised itself of 3 separate and distinct hearing dates. The hearing lasted approximately 11 and a half hours. 4 officers testified. Mr. Rudy Miranda, the owner of the premises, testified along with one of his security guards. After the full hearing, a determination was made that 7 out of the 8 charges were not sustained. The one charge sustained was that Mr. Miranda did have security there, but his method of operation did not disclose same. He immediately refiled, indicating that he did have security present. Thereafter, the board, predicated upon a request by the mayor, I believe, upon information and belief, referred it to the secretary's office for a review by Administrative Law Judge Stolt. Stolt then reviewed the transcripts and disagreed with Nicholas Tesseri's findings of September 22nd, 2014, and on or about December 5th, 2014, issued his own findings wherein he modified charges being sustained as to count 2 and 3 on docket 96525 and on charge 2 on 91072. Quite frankly, as the participant in the initial hearings, I believe Judge Tesseri's findings were true and accurate, that evidence failed to constitute substantial evidence which could be found against El Salve Restaurant, and most importantly, I would point out to the panel, the authority, that Lieutenant Heyman testified quite candidly and honestly throughout the proceedings, and what became readily apparent was that the disturbances which occurred out front of the licensed premises also surrounded public parking areas, the street itself, and alleyways, which are clearly not the responsibility of the licensee because they were occurring on public property. Now, when Administrative Law Judge Stahl looked at the officer's testimony, he stated that that was not correct. And he further added on page 8 in the paragraph, he states that the lieutenant testified the disturbances occurred in front of the licensed premises or in the alleyway are not the responsibility of the licensee since they occur on public property. This is incorrect. When patrons of the licensee's establishment cause law enforcement problems when leaving the premises, it impacts negatively. And that's what he used to overturn the 2 charges that Judge Cesari found not sustained. The reality is, though, it was never proven within the record that the commotion or the individuals involved in any of the police blotter reports, as evidenced within Exhibit 7, were patrons of El Salve's restaurant. If they were patrons of El Salve's restaurant, then I believe his findings would be correct. But if you look at what Judge Tesseri stated on page 17 of his decision, he indicates the critical documentary evidence was State Exhibit 7, the blotter police calls. In his testimony, Heyman explained that the listing of calls shows the address, but it does not necessarily mean that the calls involved any disorder, disturbance connected with or inside the licensed premises. He further admitted that these calls may have involved disorders or disturbances caused by patrons of adjacent licensed premises or other individuals not on the licensed premises. So as a result of that, Tesseri and Lieutenant Heyman testified that although a car may go to the address of 277, which is El Salve's restaurant address, it really has nothing to do, nor could he testify that it was involved with that of patrons or people coming out of that bar. Many of the disturbance calls involve traffic stops, weapons possession, but these are in the street. It doesn't mean that an individual possessed a weapon in our premises. It merely means that the police stopped an individual in that area. It was also pointed out that there are 10 other restaurants or licensees that serve alcohol till 4 a.m. in the morning on that particular street in that location. Next door to El Salve's restaurant is another restaurant, Coco's, and down the block there is another restaurant, Bar, and there are 2 bodegas on each corner. So in a radius map, it was demonstrated that there were 10 alcohol-related facilities, if you would, within the area that serve alcohol until 4 a.m., and people have a tendency to congregate in the public streets, the alleyway adjacent to our premises and adjacent to Coco's premises, and about 65 yards away from our premises in a public parking area. So for the second administrative law judge to say that he's basing his finding that when the patrons of the licensed establishment cause law enforcement problems, that becomes the problem, and that's why he's overturning or upsetting the ruling of Judge Tesseri, that's untrue and unfounded. That's not what the evidence demonstrated. He's drawing an improper conclusion. Lastly, I would indicate that El Salve also testified that it has 3 security guards present. In addition thereto, during the pendency of the proceedings, El Salve put spotlights in front of its premises that automatically go on at 3:30 a.m. They stop serving at 3:30 a.m., and they attempt to move their patrons orderly out to the parking lots, the alleyways, or wherever these individuals park. If patrons of other bars come and stand in front of the place or move across the street and cause problems, that cannot be attributed to El Sal's restaurant. It may be, but in this particular hearing, after 11 hours, the judge found it never was. There was no substantial evidence to form a basis of these charges.
With respect to the history of this, I don't recall Mayor Hall in some way being involved with us setting this for alternative findings, was he? I don't have any recollection of him requesting that in some fashion.
No,
I think we just
so. It just seemed very contrary that it wouldn't be a focal point with all of
with
this
all these
police.
calls. Yeah, they enumerated all the calls that they got, and the focal point statute says in and around the premises. It doesn't specify that the disorder has to be inside the premises. I mean, I think this is a close call.
Briefly, Mr. Chairman, I believe it must be related to the operation of the premises or the conduct of the patrons.
Yeah.
And the whole problem with this 14 hours of hearing was not one officer who testified said that the altercation occurred in the premises or out, except for one occasion where there was a spontaneous bar fight, which he said, I was in the premises once out of 51 times. But weapon charges on the street are really, we can't control that. That's the community.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that we can show that these are patrons from the bar. I think the fact that it happened outside doesn't necessarily take it out of the focal point, but I think we have to have some sort of a better connection to the
But even
to
with
the
the
establishment.
testimony of the police officers referring back to the blotter that when these are called in, they refer to the address that the licensee is located. And when you actually read the testimony from the police officers, and they even mentioned that when they referred back to the blotter, they're referring back to specifically identifying this address, the 277 Fulton, as a location where they were responding.
If you look at the blotter Exhibit 5, you'll see 273 is the bar adjacent to us with an alleyway between.
Just
that
that
had
parking lot.
41 calls to that address as well. The difficulty is there is a dark alleyway between the two, which is not our property, which leads to a parking lot behind us, which is town property. And also many of the other alcohol locations have rear doors that spill out into that back parking lot. So a lot of times when there was testimony that a lot of times when an incident occurs in the parking lot, they say 277 because they get egress and ingress to that alleyway, which is where problems occur. But it was never determined that it's our patrons in a sense. And quite frankly, we did meet with the police department. We discussed the lighting aspects, and we did impose motion detectors and lights, which is exhibits that were put before the court to demonstrate that at 3:30, we light the area up to try and discourage people from loitering in front of our premises. Unfortunately, we cannot control the public parking lots behind our establishment.
I would stay with the original findings, I think, in this matter.
Has your client made any efforts to ensure that that alleyway is secure, safe, and not a focal point for police attention? Is he doing anything? You're arguing that it's not a focal point, but police are there all the time.
The problem with the alleyway, it's owned by the town. It's not owned by our establishment.
But your
And
patrons
it's
traverse through it constantly.
But it's next to Coco's. I can't adversely possess an alley that's not mine.
I'm not asking you to adversely possess it. I'm asking you to do something to make sure that when your patrons leave, they're not causing problems with other patrons from other facilities that require the police coming there all the time. You haven't said one thing in your 10 minutes here of what they are doing to make that alleyway a safer place.
I cannot exercise possession over a public alleyway. It's not my alley. I can't close it. I can't gate it.
I'm not asking you to possess it.
What
I'm
else I can
asking you
do?
to make the place where your licensee, where your client is operating, the outside portion, a safer environment.
We have two large motion detector spotlights that the police department approved and told us to put up, that now when somebody comes off the alleyway and makes a left, we light up, and we light it up between 3:25 and about 4:15 to discourage people.
All right, we're going to roll.
To the remaining charges that were sustained, the original decision from the ALJ had
Yes, ma'am.
1, 2, and 3 from the first proceeding, and 1 and 2 in the second proceeding were not sustained. So I'll dismiss those charges. And I believe the only outstanding is 4, which was a failure to conform.
That is correct.
Unlicensed cabaret.
That was a violation. We do have security personnel, and his initial method of operation did not include same. Upon information and belief, he had another counsel file the method of operation with the SLA to rectify that problem.
All right, so I'll impose a penalty on that charge, $2,500.
I'd go to 4,000 based on, he's got a bad adverse history. I think we should take that into account.
I'll go up to 4.
4. Thanks.
Just so you're aware, the method of operation change was denied in January. Because of pending charges.
So he should,
Asked to reactivate.
does he need to reapply, ma'am, or just
No, I just
reactivate?
asked to reactivate now that the charges.
I'll see that's done. Thank you very much. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
681, Aura Bar and Lounge.
I don't see them.
Teresa Moses for Aura Bar and Lounge. Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, Commissioner.
So we held this over to hear back from the community board.
The chairman was going to
we
have
did
someone
get
reach out.
something
And
from
they still deny the application.
I spoke to Dorothy Cannon. She's manager. She's the district manager.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she had stated that they did hold the
Yeah. And so what I found out, I visited the councilman's office just to reach out for support regarding that whole mix-up of the time. This is where they were at one point. He showed me, I told him, this locked, and he said, well, you're at the right place, and he showed me. He said, because my staff member also went to the place that I was, but they had since moved. And I guess that's what she's referring to, the 6 months ago. It's been in an open lock position. And I couldn't understand why the gate I was in front was locked, and she made, but I, in my opinion, it seems as if even if I wanted to open up a flower shop, they wouldn't. She seemed firmly planted on measuring me against past behaviors of the previous owners, and I've demonstrated, and I've even provided you with pictures of the latest, the decor, my setup, operable kitchen, no dancing. It's just 180 from whatever was. The prior owners, 2 businesses before, never had an operable kitchen. Brought it up to code, got, approved by the city and got granted a food permit. And I just wanted to be assessed on my merit, but I've never been able to meet with her. Just sort of that night that I never got there because of that, and that was it. And so they're wedded to a position, and I'm not even able to demonstrate what I'm able to do and show some good faith.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
The community board still denies they're still opposing your application, and they are basing it on the prior licensee. I agree with you, it's not based on, your merit. The problem is you have no experience, and they feel that it's going to be similar to the operation that they've already gotten rid of. It was loud, it was noisy, it was, I believe, shootings or stabbings that occurred there.
There was what I found out from one of the residents. Yeah, it was a shooting off premises last year, first quarter, which was handled by this law enforcement.
So
And there's nothing ever since.
I'm sure they're just relieved not to have that place licensed at all. And being that you haven't had an opportunity to come before that community board leaves me at a disadvantage because they have not made any recommendations other than opposing your application. You were pretty much asking us to be open till, what was your closing hour?
The closing hours that I last talked to you about, it was going to be 2. You asked if I could scale it back.
Yes,
and I'm willing to work with whatever you propose. But I've sort of put my life savings into this, remodeled it, turned it 180 away from whatever it was. Folks who have passed by and stopped by love what I've done to the place. Just yesterday, the meter maid came to read our meter, Con Ed, and she's like, "When are you opening?" I'm definitely going to come back and, patronize. So I have support. I have Senators Parker support and endorsement. I have folks, I've met folks, and I continue to meet folks who are in favor.
Really, where it stands with me is really the operating hours, and it's not as if you're a restaurant. You're going to be a bar, and that's what the community has been opposed to. What I can't recall is, what's your menu? Are you having just
on the weekends will be brunch. And during the week, the regular, I have a standard menu. I have appetizers, and then I have a brunch menu for Saturday and Sunday brunch. I've submitted all those prior. This is my 3rd appearance.
I mean, it's adequate for the license that you're requesting. Where I sit now is I would be fine to license or approve a license, but just on the hours.
Okay, and I'm willing
of operation.
I'm willing to work if you would within the guidelines. I mean, this is what I've proposed. I know there are other areas, entities within areas they have longer hours, but because of the community board and this, I'm willing to work with whatever you want.
I would have you close by 1, but are you going to offer food the entire time?
Yes, yes.
All right, with that stipulation, I would approve.
All right, so 1 every day?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll agree to it.
Okay.
So it's approved, but it'll be on the license that it has to close. Okay?
Thank you, Chairman. And I want to, I feel like I've been here, and I know, so I want to wish you, I'm so familiar with all of you, so I just want to wish you all the best.
Yeah, we certainly have gotten to know one another.
and to you, Commissioner, all the best to you as well. Thank you, guys.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
650, Ella Venturero.
Good afternoon. My name is Sandra Olaya, and I'm here on behalf of El Aventurero Court.
650.
This is 650. Thank you.
There was a previous denial of this applicant for this location, correct?
Yes, for character and fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, we'll hear you.
Regarding that first denial, the attorney on file, Robert Grace, never communicated to the clients that there was documentation being requested from SLA, so they had no idea what was being requested from them. And then on the second application is Armando Diaz, the attorney. He's actually not here due to a family emergency. I have no connection to him. That's what they just told me. Mr. Livio Piedra and Franklin Piedra have informed me that they're really not 100% aware of everything that's going on with their paperwork. Like the attorneys that have been representing them haven't been 100% clear.
Well, that's not a good enough excuse.
No, I understand that. Okay.
Yeah, we do that now. Years ago we didn't, but I'm not buying that.
Okay, no,
The more you talk about that, the less inclined I am to approve anything.
Okay.
If an applicant or a licensee has to know what's going on.
No, they do take responsibility, and that's how I came.
Doesn't sound like that's what you were saying.
I was just prefacing it. Then they also feel that all the current charges are based on the previous tenant that was in the space.
And that's true, but what are they going to do to
Oh.
avoid those problems? Because people tend to go back, we just
Correct.
deny, people
Correct.
tend to go back to the same places where they were getting in trouble
Correct.
before, and we've got the community board saying, please don't issue this license.
Okay, so.
And, just one last thing,
Yes.
unlike the prior case, this is a 500-foot situation where the statute is different and says we're supposed to listen to community boards a lot closer,
Okay.
and that there's a heavy burden on the applicant to
Okay.
tell us why we should issue the license.
We also had a DCBS report showing an arrest. Is there a disposition?
We have a disposition. Should I pen that up?
Dismissed. All right, go on.
These applicants also have another restaurant about 8 stores down, 8004 Roosevelt. They've been there for 5 years. They've had their liquor license since 2010. They run a great business. It's an Ecuadorian restaurant. The community has never had an objection with their current establishment, and the way they heard about the new restaurant, 80-14 Roosevelt, was because it's the same landlord. So obviously the landlord sees the opportunity to ask, his tenants to see if they had any interest in opening a new restaurant. And the applicants took that opportunity. One of my applicants is actually married to a Mexican woman, and that's how they chose to have a Mexican restaurant now.
I'd like to know what they're going to do to avoid the problems at the last.
I have a contract
Are they
here.
aware that the last license was revoked?
I found out about that, correct.
Are they aware of that?
They have security personnel on file, and I have a contract with the security company. They have surveillance cameras. They just want to run a great business and take the opportunity to change the aesthetics of the block, because they're aware of the other.
And what are their proposed hours?
11 in the morning, and they want to close at 2. I went to visit the restaurant myself, and it's beautiful, red Mexican decor. It's clean. It's very well done.
But there are no shortage of Mexican restaurants in Jackson Heights.
And one of your clients is the brother of the prior licensee?
No. The person that was there on 80-14. No, they have no relationship to Mr. Olivian Cortez.
Oh, because on the application it says, do you have any relationship with the prior licensee or principal?
No, they have zero relationship to that gentleman. They're willing to work with the community and do anything required to run an honest restaurant. They obviously know the problems that were there before.
Do you want to?
Yeah, because I'm reading the application. It says that, he says, let me find out if it's Mr. Franklin. Yeah. Livio.
This is Livio and Franklin.
Okay, because Livio is the vice president on the corporation. It says that the prior licensee is his brother.
Of that space, no, ma'am.
What space is he referring to then?
They own another restaurant down the street, 80-04.
Well, this is asking for it asks for the licensee.
That must have been an error, that they have no relationship at all. And if you need something in writing, I'll get you something in writing, but they have zero relationship.
I'm just going on based on the information submitted, because you're saying that your clients know what's going on at this location, and they're familiar with the process of the application now.
Right.
And the submission says that he has a relationship.
They have zero relationship to him. That's an error.
Okay.
The reason why I said that they're familiar with it is because their first restaurant is 8 stores down. So obviously they know all the problems that the previous tenant was having, and it's the same landlord. So the landlord was having his own hardship with the previous tenant, and then it wasn't until the marshal came in and got involved and took them out. And then the landlord, therefore, he's very happy with them. He speaks very highly of them and offered them the opportunity to take over the new space. That's how they ended up getting involved with 80-14 Boulevard Avenue.
I'm ready to vote.
Okay, I am too.
I'm going to deny the application. I mean, it is a 500-foot, and we're taking into consideration the community board's concern of the prior licensee, and you haven't really cleared. I don't feel confident that there's just no connection, no relationship.
There is no connection, ma'am.
Between the prior, but not even just superseding that.
Right.
You're not demonstrating that it's in the public interest to
Is
actually
there,
license.
is there any, as far as the hours of operation? I mean, these clients already invested so much money in renovating the space, and
It had, the prior license was revoked.
right.
I'm sorry? Yeah, but the prior license was revoked at this location, and are you offering anything different? Because the community board is concerned just by the clientele, even if it's an RW, because the councils are asking.
I know, their concern was.
Willing to do a restaurant wine. I'm just concerned, it's very congested, the area.
Would the
has
board
a
be open
slew of restaurants.
to, you know, having them do an RW?
Yeah.
Right.
I would want you to go back to the community board and see if they would be amenable to that.
So prior to denial, is there anything else that we could do? I mean, like I said, like, they're willing to do anything, you know, in order to save this investment. They're aware that they got themselves into a really difficult situation based on the previous history of this premise. But again, it was everything else legit. I mean, this Mr. Bedro Realty Corp. is the same landlord as their current establishment now. And they seized the opportunity. It wasn't like, and the error in the application, if I could give you anything to show the board that there's no relationship.
Well, I think an opportunity is to go back to the community board. If you're going to ask for a restaurant wine license, then you're going to have to present it to the community board. You would not be held under the same standard as a 500-foot criteria, but that's up to your client to decide.
And if your clients do have a good history, 5-year history, that should carry some weight with the community board.
The community board, obviously, like I said, I mean, all their negative comments are based on somebody else's.
Yeah, there have been tremendous problems in this
Right.
area. It's been in the media. Jackson Heights has huge issues so that it's understandable if the community board's a little gun-shy, but I think what we do is we deny this, and I think you should have some conversations with the community board, preliminary conversations about an RW, and point out to them that your clients do have a good operating record down the street. That'd be my thought.
How soon can we apply for something like that? Immediately? Right.
Yeah, just give the notice, but I would work on that angle, and again, we have more flexibility, as you know, on the RW application.
Right.
And even suggest some stipulations with the community board. Engage in that conversation so they have an opportunity to give you an idea if they're going to
Right.
support.
And maybe a little flexibility on the hours, at least initially, might be helpful with the idea that you come back if you need later hours. All right, so we're going to deny this, but if you want to come back at some point with an application for an RW, we'll certainly entertain it.
Thank you.
Or Commissioner Green will certainly entertain it anyway.
Thank you so much.
682 G&C Wines.
Congratulations. Best of luck.
Thanks.
Next endeavor.
Yeah, this is, we're back after being held over 2 weeks ago. I've submitted some additional documentation. I think a lot of the record speaks for itself. I don't want to go back and repeat additional information. I think this is a growing area with a wine store that now you have more detailed evidence to show what is different from all of the existing stores, including the store that is not yet open 4 months after having picked up the license evidencing it's ready to open. That store will be a mainstream. The diagram is a bulletproof glass store. There's only one other boutique wine store in this neighborhood, and as evidenced by the email from her, she believes that there's room for another boutique store in the area. His selection is not available from any of the other stores, and I think this is an area with an increasing population and diversity that can support more than one boutique wine store, and the rest are mainstream stores. I think the record shows that.
Yeah, Mr. Stringer, I am very concerned about your client's failure to move once the license was issued.
I submitted some information about the death of her brother.
Yeah, but that was, I mean, we're toward the end of March now.
She's going to open April 1st. She got orders coming in. The sign's gone up.
The license was approved when?
June.
Commission approved November 2013.
November 2013.
You called it back because it was
So what was the basis for the delay of over a year before it was issued?
You called it back because a competing liquor store challenged after approval, challenged the church in proximity, and we had to come back twice on that issue. So they stopped renovations because we had a.
But when was it at? When was it?
It was
May 20th of last year. So what was going on between May 20th and? All right, so in June. When did her brother die?
Her brother died March 6th.
So what was going on between June and December?
She was finishing up her job. She had indicated when she applied that she was going to retire. She put in her papers, and she needed some months to get the retirement credits.
It took 6 months for her to retire?
Based on her years of service and the way it worked out, yeah.
How is that? How does it take 6 months to retire?
I don't know the mechanics of it. Her pension was based on how many years of service, and she had a few months to put in, and she didn't want to open the store because she's going to run the store herself.
So when we approved the license, she had no intention of opening up the store in the next few months?
She was given 6 months, and she claimed the license is 6 months, and claimed
So she didn't raise that issue with us.
She didn't ask for an extension.
Still was closed.
Supposedly she was supposed to be ready to go. So she picked it up in December, and the brother died in March. So what's the relationship?
Right after she picked up the license, she was going to be open for Christmas. That was the intention. And within a week of picking up the license, before she could even place the first order, she found out he had stage 4 cancer, and they were going to give him 6 months to live.
All right.
And she took over his care.
So she was.
Admittedly, she should have put it back in safekeeping, but at this point in time.
When you say she took over his care, was he living with her?
I don't know the specific arrangements, but it was stage 4 cancer. He went fast. He got diagnosed in December, and he died in March 6th. Otherwise, she would have been she would have told us about the March 10th hearing, and she would have been here. She did submit the opposition. She's got liquor coming in. The sign went up. She's going to open next week, and when these people applied in December, they knew she had just picked up the license, and they knew she was likely to open soon. The fact that now they.
But even at that point, they saw that it wasn't open. I mean,
but they knew they picked up the license on December 4th. It was active. When they filed it, the license was active.
Why was the license not placed in safekeeping?
She didn't know the rule, didn't ask Attorney Tazaki or myself. We would have certainly advised him to put it in safekeeping. Exigent circumstances. I have, letter from the funeral home that the wake was on March 10th. And
let me see that, please.
That's how the photo of the storefront sign went up. She should have put it back in safekeeping. But things happen in people's lives. She's not open today. She's not open tomorrow. But she's violating the law. She's picking up. April 1st. Today is March 23rd. No, but she needs it to get the liquor to come in. She can't get the liquor until she is open. She can't order the liquor unless she has a license that's active. They won't deliver without. She should be ready to open when her license is.
When she opens, it's clearly it's a mainstream store operated by someone who has not doesn't have any experience. It is a completely different. It is a completely different product. I mean,
Tell us again about your client's product selection. I'm a little inclined to. Yeah, and I'm happy to hear you talk about it. So.
Yeah, it's something that's really exciting for me. My career has been in wine and spirits so the last 8 years.
Okay, and what will be helpful is if you can focus very specifically on exactly what you're going to do.
So I'm touching every major growing region.
What does that mean?
Every growing region that produces wine, every country. About 300 selections, about a third of them, though, are going to be domestic because it's something that I'm very passionate about. I worked for a couple different wineries out in Sonoma County and became very close to many producers, lots of different appellations, and things that just aren't represented, not only in our neighborhood, but just not in Brooklyn. You have to go either to Williamsburg or Manhattan to get a lot of the products that I'm talking about, and I live across the street from my store, and it's something that I'm there every day. I walk by this place every day.
How is what you sell going to be different from what everybody else is selling? Because there are a number of stores in the area.
Yeah, so there's, I think, in total 15 New York State wines in my whole zip code, 11238, probably having 30 selections, with the range going from Finger Lakes to North Fork. And then in terms of actual wines, the wines I'm bringing in are going to be that are selectively allocated. And I know these producers personally, and there are things such as Pierre Gerasi, that's in Santa Barbara. It's a passion project from a guy named Sashi Morin, who is the winemaker for Stoltman, and I've already had 2 cases set aside through my relationship with Strodic Wines. That does not exist in Brooklyn. Same goes with Jackson Keys brandy that you see on there. It's a very, very specific artisanal brandy made from a 300-year-old copper still out in Mendocino County. Something that I love. I know the man personally. His name is Ken Wilson. And then in that back area, if you see the design of the store, I do classes now at the bar that I manage, and I plan on bringing classes and education to this store. And there's a whole area that's already sectioned off. The whole place is designed. The whole place is ready. I want to put food floors in tomorrow. I have the email from my contractor saying we're ready to go, just pending
What will the price range be, roughly, of your...
About 15% of the wines will be 15 and under, and then after that, the other 85% will go. The next 50% will be 15 to 30, and then the others will go. Let's see.
You have any questions? Okay, just a minute, please. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm good.
All right, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
We're getting ready to go. There are 7 stores within 0.6 miles, and there are 3.
And 6 of those were referenced when your client applied not too long ago.
I understand
and we
that.
still issued the license.
I'm not re-arguing that the area didn't need another liquor store, and we are going to open one. There's 3 on the same street in close proximity. I don't know why this area of Brooklyn needs a 4th. It's not Manhattan. 300 to 400 wines in an 800 square foot store, and distilled spirits, and lectures, and tastings.
All right, we got it. We've gone through that at the last appearance. Are you ready to vote?
Yes. I think the size is comparable to that area. This is a 700-foot store. 800 square feet. I know you're going to have some for storage, so I approve.
Yeah, I approve it. I think it'll add something. Thank you.
Thank you.
$657, Viejo Group.
657.
I think you are.
Fine job. Good afternoon to the Chairman, Commissioner.
657.
Lawrence Reinley for the applicant seeking a corporate change, approval of a minor alteration, and the endorsement from a change of name. All of the documents have been submitted. I believe a lot of confusion was created on the fingerprint issue. There was a date of birth issue from a gentleman from England, to which, we couldn't get L1 to accept the documents. I believe Deputy Commissioner O'Brien can testify to or submit whatever documentation with regard to that aspect of it. We were receiving deficiency letters, still referring back to the issue dealing with fingerprints. Another objection, from what I understand, was that the perception that we were adding an additional bar. That is not an accurate statement. It was never an additional bar. What we did was we converted the service bar on the first floor or the ground floor from where people sat into a bar, and created downstairs, where we had our restaurant area, a service bar of approximately 4 to 5 feet. From what I hope that the diagrams were submitted, or that you have, but I can supplement those diagrams to indicate what it was. So there was no additional bar that was submitted. There are a total of 42 in occupants seating. That's including 7 tables upstairs on the ground floor with 6 bar stools, which is now there. We have a basement that has 9 tables, 21 seats. And I'm not sure anything else of consequence is changed.
In the community board's letter opposing this, they also mentioned that they're opposing, but I don't see it in our documents. You're asking for it. The upgrade to an on-premise license.
No.
Where did that come from?
I have no idea.
That was never discussed? Or
the only application that has ever been submitted is for an RW. I submit to you the notice to the community board on both. It's been an a TW on all occasions. All we have done is improve the food.
I think I might be able to explain.
Yeah, please, this is Mr. DeRossi himself.
The previous tenant applied for, she tried to upgrade to an on-premise license.
Yeah.
When she wasn't approved, she decided she no longer wanted to run the business, so I purchased it from her. I have no intention of that. I didn't apply for on-premise. I was keeping the wine.
Okay.
And your records will indicate that Mr. Lanchandani and Mr. DeRossi has 10 or 11 operations within the city of New York now, licensed. His history has been excellent, to the best of my knowledge.
I wouldn't say excellent.
It's been
passable.
I was going to say over the last 5 years, I'm not aware of it.
Over the last 5 years, he's had 1 or 2 minor violations.
At this location, he's been operating the premises since September. They're not aware of any communications from any of the departments.
I don't see any violations for this license. All right, you ready? Yeah. I'll approve it, too.
Thank you. Is that all 3? Yeah. And to you, Chairman, just a side segment. I have appeared, not necessarily before this your body, but I have practiced before the ABC since 1970. And I have to say, over the course of all of those chairmans, and I have known all of them, movement of this authority with your expertise has moved the authority's position and councils, allowing us the ability to work.
Yeah.
Whether I approve all of your decisions, that's another issue.
I would have thought you did.
No, I'm not going to go there. But I will say that you have allowed us to work within a system that allows mechanisms.
All right, good. Thank you.
638, Juquila, Mexican cuisine.
I'm sorry, what was the number?
638.
State your name, please.
Yeah, how are you? I'm Cristóbal Bonella, chef owner of Villa Restaurant.
I'm going to send this back to her license and look at it again. Yeah, it seems.
The notice?
I don't think so. Okay, we're gonna have the licensing board look at this again. So it was disapproved, but they're gonna take another look at it. So we're gonna send it back. They're gonna consider it. Okay?
So should I wait?
So
It's going to come back to my office. I'll have an examiner review the whole application because it was denied based on not having the community board notification.
Yeah,
So
we-
they didn't review the whole file.
Oh, I
So
see.
I will have
So
that.
I'll look at it now. So the denial no longer stands. We're overturning the denial, but now they'll look at it and review it. So there's no decision yet on whether you'll have it or not, but they'll look at it again as opposed to saying no.
Thank you.
Okay.
649 Rush Tapas Bar.
My name is Ariel Ferreira. I'm representative. This is Rafael again. He's owner.
No, we have a communication from one of the residents saying that the community board is supposed to vote tonight on this, the full
Correct.
board. So maybe should we put it over 2 weeks? Let's put it over just 2 weeks so we get the full board vote on it.
Yeah,
It'll be very much in your client's interest if they do vote in favor of it. So I suggest we adjourn it for 2 weeks.
Okay.
All
'Cause
right.
we met with the committee on March.
Yeah, I saw the
11th.
committee said yes. So I would think that the board will probably say yes, and that'll give some good momentum to your client, particularly since it's a 500-foot case.
Yeah.
So if we have a community board recommendation, that helps your guy a lot. So let's just put it over for 2 weeks, okay?
Okay.
And maybe we can contact the community board so that we get something from them right away. Yeah, because or else they may not realize that. Yeah, okay, we'll try to get something from them in writing, or at least somebody could tell you maybe even over the phone how they voted. Okay, so we don't hold this up long. All right, 4-7.
I'll make sure I'll speak to the district manager in the
Okay, that'd be
morning
good.
So they can make you a phone call with Ebenezer Smith. All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right,
And
it's over
you've
to
been awesome, by the
4-7.
way.
Thank you.
It's over to 4-7. I put that one over, but next is 656 Shots Pool Hall. 56.
656. I think that was the most appropriate word so far, I think, also. Yeah. I think that's, get it right on this one. I mean, I don't even, you've got a side that's coming out. This is very nice. That's only when I do something bad to Ann. She doesn't freelance. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Roddy Ramatar. I'm the owner of Shots Pool Hall. This is my brother Ren Ramatar. He's also an owner of Shots Pool Hall.
Okay. This is where they want the under 21.
So would a 22-year-old accompanying a 20-year-old be considered an adult?
Yeah.
I would consider it if it was like a family member, like brother, sister, cousin, something like that. I would probably consider something like that. I wouldn't want friends bringing in an underage. I'm not going to let somebody just bring in an 18-year-old unless there's some sort of like family, brother, mother, father, uncle, aunt, something like that.
So if you have a group of friends and some of them are 21 and some of them are 20 or 19, only the 21-year-olds are going to say, none, you can't come in, only these ones can come in?
I've done that many times. I've done that many a time. Depending on who they are, a lot of the people, it's a very small community, and we know 90% of the community that's out there. Well, maybe not 90, maybe 60% of the community. And we know our constant customers that continue to come in and support us, a lot of them come in with their kids, a lot of them come in there with their nieces and their nephews, or they got family that comes in from Canada and they want to come down because they can't go to a regular bar, they can't go to a regular
How would
club.
you, if we gave you what you're asking for, how would you sort of implement it? How would you enforce it? To pick up on Council's point, let's say 10 people come in a group together, and, you know, maybe a couple of them are 22 and the rest are 18, 20, 19. How would you deal with it in that context?
At that point, we wouldn't let them in.
So it's a one-on-one ratio, is it?
Yeah, I would probably consider a one-on-one ratio. I would definitely not allow 18-year-olds to come in with two 21, or even one 21-year-old to bring in 10 18-year-olds. I wouldn't consider that at all.
When was your license issued? How long have you been operating?
Approximately about 3 years ago. We just renewed. We've owned the place for approximately 6 to 7 years now. We've had a beer license for only about, about 5 years.
Nothing related to the.
I'd let him do it. I think he's been running a good show.
See if there was anything pending.
Yeah. All right.
And you've been operating.
We've been managing the place since for 10 years, and then we bought it over from the owner.
All right.
So we've owned it for about 6 to 7 years now.
We had beer and wine, and then we
upgraded 3 years ago.
All right. I'm good with it too. Based on your good licensing history, as long as you show us that you're running a good shop, you can make requests like this.
Thank you.
So please keep it up.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
658, DK and DS. 658.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Aurelia Tavares. I am the expediter on this application for DK and DS Inc., Grocery Deli in Junction Boulevard in Corona, Queens.
All right, we have a letter from the community board in support of it. I'm ready to vote. Okay. I approve it too. Good luck.
Thank you.
653, 61 Woodside Corp.
We trying.
Chairman. Ladies.
Oh, no. Good afternoon. What was the calendar number?
653.
Thank you.
This is a request for later hours.
That's correct.
Community board is opposed.
How long have you been licensed? You've been licensed since 2011?
That's correct.
Could you gentlemen identify yourself for the record, please? Your names for the record, please.
My name is Javier Simbana. I'm the general manager of this his establishment. And Mr.
I'm Andreas Moschopoulos. I'm on another business at another location. I don't have any problems, never, for 23 years. In this location, I'm 5 years. I just want to extend the hours.
I'd like perhaps more from the community board other than that we're opposing it. Some rationalization, so could we put it over, unless we have some follow-up? We have just an email confirming that they oppose it, but with no real.
I just have a question. You are one of the licensees?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yes.
I feel the licensee is 27 years.
No, it's my son.
He's the licensee.
Yes.
But I have a 28 and a 27-year-old.
Yes, it's my two sons, But
But you're not on the list.
No, I have another location if you want for your records.
The other location's been for 23 years running.
So who are you, sir?
The manager.
Yeah. So we don't have any of the owners, either of the owners.
No.
Why not?
Because my sons, they're working, and they can come right now.
Yeah, hold it
I'd
over.
like to give the community board the opportunity to give us more information. So, in fact, this board, sometimes they'll come in. So is 2 weeks enough time? Here's what I'm going to suggest. The community board is opposing this. We're going to put this over to the next meeting, which is in 2 weeks. We're going to try to get more information from the community board, because they didn't really give us a reason. So what I would suggest is in 2 weeks, you have one of the owners here, for him personally to tell us why he needs to be open till 3 o'clock past the hours that were agreed to. And we'll also have maybe something more from the community board, but we're going to put this over to April 7th. And I'd like one of them to come in then. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
612 Loma Restaurant and Coffee Shop.
Hello, my name is Rafael Lebron.
All right, you had a noise violation. We're going to pose a penalty for that today.
1,000.
All right. The penalty's going to be $1,000. You got to keep the noise down. But that's pretty light because you haven't been in front of us before. Next, if it's just another one, we'll get higher.
Yeah, we already stopped doing the karaoke.
All
We're
right.
not doing it. We close at 10:30 every night.
Okay,
So,
good.
not
Good.
doing-
You close at what time?
At 10:30. But serving food. Nah,
Every night?
not every night. Like on Saturdays and Fridays we close at 10:30. The other days we close at 8.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not doing any like parties, nothing like that. Just food and serving beer.
Bring it down. I'll bring it down to 500.
All right. If you tell me if that's absolutely the case, then we're going to reduce it to 500.
Okay, yeah,
But if it turns out that you're open till 1 in the morning, you're going to be very sorry.
No, we're not. I don't want any problem with that.
Okay, 500.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. You'll get a letter.
Okay, thanks.
You know, it's just getting the hang of it.
613 146 Broadway. You're in opposition? This is,
Yeah, this is to display a license.
yeah, this is on a specific charge.
I'm having issues with space. I live right behind this place, and I don't have.
Well, come on to the microphone and put your name on the record. And
If you're having issues with this place, you can talk to, we've got our assistant CEO sitting in the back room, Mike Jones. Talk with him.
tried
This is
many
just about not
places.
having a license in the right place.
Tried. I've called
But
every.
put your name on the record.
Jacob
and-
Middleman. I live right behind this place.
right.
We're like right in the back of it.
Okay, so as you exit, Mr. Jones will walk out with you. And
Okay.
we'll talk with you about your
I
complaints.
know they're up for renewal in August, but I didn't know the process. Like what?
Yeah, no, it's good that you came down, because you'll have a chance to talk with us, because this is, what's in front of us is the equivalent of a parking ticket, and so we can't
I knew that.
take global issues into account, but
I knew that.
grab Mr. Jones on your way out.
Okay, thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you. So on this, what, $100?
I had a letter of warning.
Okay.
But I'll put
Well,
100
actually,
because
yeah, I would do the 100. They had a prior, so let it cost them
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they paid that other fine yet. They haven't paid the other fine.
Do you have one?
They have not paid the other
That
fine.
might work to the,
We're
what's
looking to
the,
be, we're
what's the
probably going to be
alternative?
canceling them real soon.
They don't pay, what's the alternative?
Cancel.
Gentlemen, maybe.
So I think we'll make sure that will be done, because it was due the end of February. Oh, yeah, see, we gotta get your name on that one.
Maybe I'll sit them right.
Okay. I do not have either one of your, any more numbers
We
to.
did one of his already.
Mine's supposed to be on the way up.
Okay.
8.
Do you happen to know which one it is, so we don't like vote on it?
I'm sorry, El Noah Noah.
El Noah Noah, okay. And Mr. Puella? Odessa.
It is
Oh,
1:15.
see? This is,
You are
this
starting
is the
to get
day.
the hang of it.
This is the day that you are. Be real quick about it. See? Now I know. Should have told you.
574 is Odessa Restaurant. 574.
I was distracted.
Happens easily.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Puella didn't hear the morning sound.
I let him know.
I did.
Is,
I didn't realize you were serious about that one. Good luck to you, sir. It's been a
Thank you
pleasure.
very
Good luck.
much. Same here.
Nice getting my ass kicked once every 2 weeks. Usually getting it at home.
I missed the beginning.
I don't want any more
Oh, my God.
details. No more details
I don't
about what you
wanna
get at
know
home,
anything
please.
else.
That's a little scary, Mr. Palillo.
Offer of
$1,000, let's get him out of here.
Which is paid. You'll be seen by the Secretary's office, right?
We'll get it tomorrow. It's in council's office right now.
Thank you. Best of luck to you, sir.
Same to you, and enjoy yourself at home tonight.
Thank you for that. It won't be up till tomorrow, I'm okay.
So while he's waiting for his client, his item isn't wait until near the end of the calendar. Do you want to start getting a few more of these done? Dinner during actual dinner time? That would be something.
Well, I'll figure out a way to slow us down.
I'm sure. 5:20.
Some of us.
5:20.
Offer of cancel and
But it was
1,000
115.
bond. I had a counter offer of revoking bond.
520, I can't find it. 521.
Oh, here.
Can I suggest
520 is Galaxy 5 Corp. They're surrendered.
Then revoke of putting a name stop or
Oh,
stop
I
on
have
the
that
location.
too.
It's Spring
But
Valley,
they-
so it should
they
come
already
here anyway.
expired, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, so they're expired. They should have already turned in their license.
They surrendered it in February.
Oh, I didn't even see a surrender.
Oh, the order cancel and bond. So
Oh,
you're
yeah,
just taking the
surrendered. I
offer?
have revoke and bond and name stop. And, because we expressed our
Yeah.
concerns with that place when they came to.
But it's conditional, so then it's going to have to go back. It's a CNC. Do you really want it to go back as opposed to just taking the cancellation?
They've
I
already
already
turned it.
knew.
You know, I mean, if they just turned it in, but it's a CNC, so the process is going to, all right. Revoke.
Just to be clear, in counsel's office, we often negotiate. If you surrender the license,
Yeah.
we'll take cancel and bond. If we go
Yeah.
to a hearing, we're going for a revocation. But
Yeah.
we give the benefit of you've surrendered the license. You didn't have to do the hearing.
In Spring Valley, any new application will come.
Yeah, because,
Yeah, just because when they actually came to be approved,
Yeah.
they knew. You know, they were clear about the concerns.
so what's your
I'll-
feeling?
I'll accept the offer.
Just name some.
All
I
right.
actually emailed the lieutenant from the police department whenever I see a full board too. because
Yeah, because I know Spring Valley always sends us, you know, information about these places that turn into something else, and this was prime example.
Okay. Mr. Allenwood, did you have an item that you were signing in for before we go past it?
I signed it for.
You're going to have to just give me the names.
Baby's all right, 146 Broadway Associates.
Just missed it, and Mr. Jones just met with people complaining about them.
Okay.
Yeah, we imposed $100. But they've got a fine that they haven't paid, and it's going to result in their license being canceled from a prior.
Yeah, the 45.
They sent the check, the 4,500?
Any idea when they sent it?
Yeah, because it was due February 27th, yeah?
We don't have it.
Yep. It was 4,500.
I know I have emails from them saying it paid.
Well, then, you might want to check on that. I don't have it unless it shows up miraculously in the mail today, but it was due in the end of February.
Right.
You might want to check with your client and see if they can get a copy of the cancel, of something, because or else they're going to get shut down.
Okay, who else do you have?
Yeah, sorry. Scotty's Place, 00529. An offer 4,500.
Yep. 529.
529?
They haven't filed the DBA.
I didn't bring my phone.
Well, if the DBA they plan to use is Clubhouse, they haven't filed that.
Oh, just give that to me.
Is that what's alleged in there? I'm sorry, I didn't bring that.
Yes,
Counsel?
and you wrote in your letter,
We have the paperwork here. I think it was sent to counsel's office. It wasn't forwarded to
It
council.
wasn't done as an endorsement application.
We don't file an endorsement application anymore. All they do is give me the filing receipt with a letter, and then we'll book it as an endorsement, but they don't have to file it, but if I don't have a copy of it.
But no, they only sent it to counsel's office. They didn't send it to
You
licensing.
can give me the filing receipt with just the cover letter
Sure.
stating.
Okay.
I'll accept the order of 4,500.
I will too.
Next.
718 hookah.
That is 536.
36.
Like the zip code. 718, not 718. Like the zip code.
Oh.
This will offer 1,500, accept.
Accept.
And Optimo, 598. Did I say that right?
I signed it up. Optimo Convenience and Smoke, that's 598.
Second. This is, Optimum Convenience.
Yes, Celta Minor.
I have 10,000.
All right, 10.
What was the last one? 66814. Offer 5,000. That's 665.
665. Yeah, yeah.
No, it was pulled out, but we
Yeah.
didn't do it. Offer 5,000, accept.
Accept.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
You too.
Straggling in.
I haven't got to see this in a while. We're usually here till...
Mr. McCallum?
It's everything.
Yeah, we're doing meetings here if you want to.
I know. How's everyone, all right?
Hey, what's your number?
I signed in, 624, Brian Mart, Inc.
624. Well, you're
It's a
on top.
conditional, Thomas McCown on behalf of the applicant, Brian Mart, Inc. It's a conditional no contest plea to settle the charges. There's been a little back and forth on this. Client has ceased the activities and the conduct.
Offer 5,000,
Everyone.
accept.
Accept.
Thank you very much. Word on the street that I just came in on, it's the last day, Chairman?
It's not true.
Oh, it's not true?
No, I'll be here. Yeah.
Oh. I better go to on a different street. Thank you very much.
Nothing to it.
683, El Noah Noah.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioner, members of the board. Victor Molina, 930 Grand Concourse, on behalf of El Noah Noah. We're here on a conditional no contest plea where he had proposed a fine and proof that he had a kitchen.
Right.
After meeting with him and discussing this, his license expires at the end of the month, I believe, and he would like the authority.
Expires December of 2016.
Okay, sorry. He would like the authority to consider him surrendering his license, canceling his license, and a bond at this time.
All right, I'll do a cancel and bond. That's
Okay,
fine.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Guess hold on. 521. Yeah, 521. There's no one else here. They're just,
No, we're sort of like,
they're just, you know.
Okay. Okay. Offer 1,000, accept.
Accept.
So it's like, okay.
522.
So 6,000.
Hey, 10. This happened after they had a full board on the sale of the minor, and then these charges came after that, after they paid a penalty on it. So I thought we should go higher.
I wouldn't surprise the area. All right, 10,000?
10,
Okay,
yes.
I'll do 10.
Just the timing.
523.
They're right across from the police station at this
that right?
address. Yeah, they're like almost diagonal. You could see it from the police station. They even said it in the lobby. They could see. 523, offer of 8,000, accept.
Accept.
524.
Offer of 7,500, accept.
Accept.
525.
Offer of 7,000, accept.
Accept.
526.
Offer of 6,000, accept.
Accept.
527.
I thought this was low. Had a counter offer of 5,000.
I'll go with that.
528.
Offer of 5,000, accept.
Accept.
530.
For work and bond. They're expired.
I'm fine with that.
I'm sorry, that was revoke and bond. I was distracted by Deputy
So
Council.
one thing is that
Maybe
it did
you need
take,
to move over here.
before you do the revocation, I will say that the board denied the first C&C. It did take council's office 1 year to schedule this hearing, which they then defaulted on. This hearing should have been scheduled sooner.
And your point is what?
November of 2013?
I don't know, but I thought it was worth pointing out that maybe there's some slack there, since.
But you don't know why it was worth bringing up.
No, forget it.
That's
All right, so it stands as a revo.
I suggest we disregard council's comment.
It was my Marty Mailer moment.
537.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
538.
Nothing. Okay, let's see.
And the only thing in mitigation of these are pretty old charges. It's a shame they took so long.
I know.
They're serious, but they are old. We don't have anything pending, do we, against this licensee? Where did this come from? No.
Case 726. No, that's this case. No, nothing else.
What? Yeah, they're all.
Nothing else. The hearings were conducted in September and October.
I mean, they were all sustained, so it's serious. But I mean, we had recent findings. If you look at the history, we had findings just in. It's funny, they had violations from 2010 that took 4 years to go to the full board. I don't know.
Well, they had a suspension at the last. 210.
Yeah, it's just too bad it took so long to come to us. But 10,000.
Got it. 539.
This one, I had to cancel and bond. This is.
I was going to suggest a 30-day suspension and a $10,000 fine. What do you think of that?
All right, I'll do that.
This is something short of taking a license.
Yeah, it's constantly
So
happening.
30-day suspension, 10,000 fine.
Got it. 540.
Charges not sustained, dismiss.
Dismiss.
544.
10,000.
10,000.
547.
Cancel and bond.
I agree.
548 and 549.
Dismiss charge 1 in the first proceeding as for the second proceeding, 2,500.
I agree.
550.
3,000.
3.
551.
Or for 4,500, accept.
Agreed.
552.
Offer of 12,000, accept.
I was wondering if we might want on this one cancel and bond as a counter offer. I just think they're pretty bad. It's a liquor store. Yeah, with repeated. You know, in October they come they get the board imposes a penalty October 21st, 11/18. So they would have gotten something in the mail by then, and they're still doing it. I'm sorry.
Would you like to bring them in before then?
I'll do cancel and bond.
Counter cancel and bond.
Yeah.
553.
Offer of 1,000, accept.
Accept.
554.
There's pending felony charges, right? For this individual. I was going to hold this over until we had the felony charges.
Yeah, but it could-
this is fairly, yeah.
Yeah, and it could go on for another year.
All right, I'll do 2,500.
Yeah, for now, I do the 2,500.
Just to check.
If there's a felony conviction, then we should have it.
The 416,
Yeah.
555.
3,000.
564.
This one, is this a pizza? I thought this was a pizza place, but then it's a menu with Spanish food. I didn't know what this was. They're asking for an upgrade to an OP.
Probably.
They want live music.
Now, they were asking for an adjournment to today.
He's asked for many.
What were they on?
Last time he last. This is Mr. DeLuca.
I think they've asked a couple of times.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the fourth time it's on.
Because they were going to talk to the town.
Yeah.
Really? It's an open meeting.
I'm sorry?
What?
It's not an open meeting.
Oh, we can have
Sure.
This was mostly you, wasn't it?
So what do you want to do? What?
Yes, it looks like it's a Mexican menu.
Under the name of Valentino's Pizza.
It's like, okay. Because my first, when I looked at it, I was like, an OP for a pizzeria? But then, I mean, it has a full menu, a full restaurant menu. But the town is still opposed. Did they want us to hold it over for them to talk to the town?
You don't have any communication from them?
Not since January.
All right, we've adjourned it
Then I'll deny it.
2-3 times. I would deny it, just for lack of them prosecuting it any further.
565.
Proposed fine, adopt the findings and impose 7,500.
All right, I agree.
Opposed, I'm sorry, how much?
75.
75, thank you.
I agree.
572.
What they asked for renewal?
I would grant him, let him have his hearing, if that's what he wants.
This is 572?
572.
Grant the reconsideration.
573.
Dismiss charge 1, it's expired, I cancel and bond.
I agree.
575.
Offer 6,000, accept.
Funny, I had counter, again, only, when I look at the timing, 10-7, the board issues a penalty, and 10 days later, they get another violation. I don't like those that are so close, because it tells you the penalty was absolutely meaningless. So I would counter with 8,000.
All right, I agree.
Okay. 576.
Offer of cancel and bond, accept.
Accept. Oh,
577.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. 577.
Yes.
Offer of 3,000, accept.
Accept.
578 and 579.
Offer of 4,000, accept.
Accept.
580.
Offer of 1,000, accept.
Accept.
581.
Usually I have them up here, but then
Yeah,
I read it, I had cancel and bond because I didn't know that they could have these two premises, if you can go back and forth. Because it's a liquor store.
I would get them in before we cancel the license, though, because I don't think any of these violations in terms of how they impact on the public are that serious, and that's why I'd be reluctant to just, take a
Just
license.
that they had another business. But if they can clarify if there's a wall between, because it looks like you can walk in between. you could shop for your clothes and get your bottle of scotch.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the worst thing anyway. Yeah, it's not.
It's an RW.
Oh, okay.
Primarily a restaurant.
I thought it was a liquor store.
My daughter would like that if she could shop and eat at the same time.
Well, we
They
did.
would have
We
to file an
established- we
alteration
licensed the place
application.
in Brooklyn.
So, well, why don't we let's get them in though and tell them what we want. I wouldn't just cancel a license, you know.
Oh, no, I
Urban
wouldn't.
Outfitters or Bloomingdale's, it's a restaurant that is
Yeah,
separated.
separated.
It's not, you're not walking around with your glass of wine.
All right, we'll get them in and see
So I
what
think they
their,
need us
what's
to
their
tell them how
method
to
of
do it,
operation.
that's all.
So we'll have them in.
4-7.
I'm not opposed to shopping and drinking at the same time.
Well, is there any activity you wouldn't drink with?
I can list a few, but we gotta go off the air.
All right,
Yes, yes. All right, yeah, this is an open meeting, yeah.
it is 582.
And it's a PG rated one too. We try to keep it
We're
that
going for G soon.
way. 582?
Yes.
Offer of 10 days with 10-day suspension and 10,000, accept.
Accept.
583.
3,000.
3,000.
On 584, we did have a request to adjourn only if the board is inclined not in the favor of the applicant, so they would have an opportunity to
Oh,
speak.
now they want.
Well, it was just going to be adjourned, but there was no, it doesn't appear to have any protests.
My note was okay if he's here, so I think we should put it
We'll
on.
hold it over.
I mean, okay if he's here. Oh, if he's,
had
but this is the one I talked to you about, and you said it was okay,
Yeah,
that they couldn't make it.
yeah. But after looking at
Yeah,
it.
send them a notice to appear.
Yeah, so I.
All right, so this will be over.
I wouldn't deny it, but I'd like to just have one or two, and I know that Commissioner Green will do that very well, clarify.
But
that.
I had a question, actually, their hours.
Yeah.
I wanted to know their hours.
All right, so 4-7, and ask a letter to appear.
Got it.
I know you can handle this.
586.
Offer of 6,000, accept.
Except this is not like when you and
Unless you
Kim
want to hold
adjourn.
this one over.
No, this isn't you and Kim adjourning.
590.
Offer of 1,000, accept.
Except,
592.
And this one I had 12,000.
I'm fine with that.
593.
That's terrible. They just got licensed and all of those underage sales. Offer of 3,500, accept.
Except,
594.
Cancel and bond. Why? Oh, they already had a 15-day suspension for the last underage sale. And then less than a month later, it was what, in the same month? Well, I'll do the fine because I see that they have a 15-day suspension for the last.
Generally, when the
underage.
license certificate is not secured, might indicate that they were unable to serve it. It may not have been opened.
Well, hopefully then they at least were closed for those days.
Yeah, it's because now the bond's gone. This is in non-payment of the fine.
All right, so I'll do 5,000.
yeah, 5,000. And this is an example where the charge is on the face sheet should say under 18.
Yes. 595 and 596.
For 6,500, accept.
I had 8,500. The second proceeding, that's two, it's really two minors went in.
All right, I'll go up.
Yeah, I would go to 85.
Counter 85.
Yeah.
597.
Dismiss. Okay.
I have an issue with the judge's reasoning for the first case, the dismissal. She sua sponte suddenly argues that the affidavit is not an affidavit, and she misapplies Cafe Concerto in a manner that this board has consistently said is wrong. This was a police auxiliary
Yeah.
officer.
I don't think Concerto applies, but I was concerned about the affidavit not being sworn to.
That issue, it's actually in another case that
Yeah.
we have on today that Judge Romeo, I thought, dealt with very bad. But what troubles me most about this case is that the judge was bringing it up on her own and has no support for her argument that it's an unreliable document because there was no notary to give an oath. As in supporting depositions are handed over in courts of law all the time in criminal complaints as a supporting deposition.
But aren't they sworn to?
It has the same statement at the bottom that under penalty of perjury.
Oh, I see. Oh, so so this affidavit would have that standard language?
Yes.
An affirmation sort of language?
They usually do, and by the record here, she doesn't say whether it had that. I can pull up the document which she's referring to, but I'm very troubled by this ruling, and then her ruling and Judge Romeo's ruling would be in exact opposite positions. But this judge didn't have anything to support her position. At least Judge Romeo went through a litany of cases that the defense had proposed. I don't even believe the defense proposed that argument here. I think the ALJ.
No, I think I didn't get that thing. So let's send it for alternative findings, if you think that would be helpful. And if you could, look up the affidavit, because that was actually used in this case in the record. If you could get that from the attorney, would have a copy.
I have it right
Yeah,
now.
because it may not be worth sending for alternative findings if the affidavit is really egregious.
And if you want to wait 10
look at
seconds,
the
I can pull up the
Yeah.
affidavit right now. It was from a nuisance abatement action. Okay, maybe not 10 seconds, I'm sorry. It says, I have read the above statements and all facts are true and correct. And then it says on the bottom, false statements made herein are punishable as a Class A misdemeanor pursuant to Section 21-1045 of the New York State Penal Law, which is the standard on any supporting deposition that's handed over in a criminal court and is the standard on any undercover operation that's used in this agency routinely and in police departments.
Yeah, so let's send it for alternative findings, and I'm wondering if it might be helpful to have, say, one of the attorneys like Courtney did maybe do a short brief on it.
I had reached out to Mr. Jones. I sent him an email about this, asking if he could address the issue. If you want a memo from counsel's office to the ALJ.
Yeah, let's have a memo from counsel's office that he could distribute.
I also, in that email, cited to Judge Romeo's decision.
Yeah, okay.
Hold it over for, we'll return it for alternate findings.
Yeah. Okay, 599?
All right, so this will be alternative findings.
Yep.
99.
599?
599.
5,000.
5.
600.
Dismiss.
Dismiss.
601.
Revoke.
Revoke.
602.
Revoke.
Revoke.
I didn't know if there was a bond. Is there?
Actually, there is, because you didn't impose one at the last board, at the cancellation board.
All right, I'll do it in the bond.
Okay.
Yep.
603.
Cancel and bond.
I agree.
604.
Dismiss.
Dismiss.
605.
3,000.
3.
606.
Dismiss.
Agreed.
607.
5,000.
I agree.
608.
1,500.
Okay, I agree.
609.
5,000.
5.
610.
Dismiss.
I agree.
611.
5,000.
Agreed.
616.
Cancel and bond.
Agree.
615.
3,000.
3.
616.
3,000.
3.
617 and 18, I have an adjournment request from Mr. Mailer.
I had several conversations with Mr. Maller about this case prior to the hearing when he was requesting adjournments, and had asked him to place the license in safekeeping numerous times, because as it admits in the hearing, the licensee has passed away. The people running the location right now.
Actually, that's what I just recalled his conversation with me, was he indicated that he knew you were going to have questions. So that's another reason he was asking to carry over.
But he's been adjourning and adjourning and adjourning this matter while they've still been operating at my repeated request to put the license in safekeeping, and he's
Do you see this as an emergency suspension?
No, which is why I didn't do it, but I'm concerned about Mr. Maller then adjourning the case again today when...
No, I think we gotta put it on over 4-7. If you don't think it rises to the level of an emergency suspension. And we did have the ALJ dismissing the case. So, the worst case scenario is that it'll go to another ALJ. I didn't think it was a good decision myself.
Just because they didn't know what was in, if it looks like, if it's a bottle of beer.
Yeah,
No,
I agree.
I'm just concerned at Mr. Maller's continued guidance to his clients to operate illegally.
Well, I don't think we can do anything at this point. Again, if he's not here on the 7th, that's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
But for this case, it's the first time that it's been before the board. So,
619.
Over 6,500, accept.
Accept.
620.
This was an offer of 1,500. That was kind of low. No, I'll accept it.
I'll take it, too.
To send it back for...
I didn't think it was so bad.
621.
Offer of 1,500, accept.
Accept.
622.
Oh, no, cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
623.
Offer of 6,000, accept.
Accept.
625.
Oh, 1,000.
1,000.
627 and 28.
Offer of 60 days suspension and 15,000, accept.
Yeah, I accept, but also if you make a note, talk to enforcement about checking on
during
it once the
enforcement?
suspension is in force. Yeah.
We'll send it with the order. We usually send an information with them when we send them the order.
Okay.
But if you want counsel to
Oh,
do that,
there's
fine.
enforcement, right there.
Not a worry. 629 and 630.
Do it.
Offer of cancel and bond.
See, now I can go, because that's how efficient we are now. Now I feel I can leave, go on to better things, so to speak.
Okay, 629 and 630.
Dismiss.
29, 630.
Oh, wait, 629? Oh, that was the offer of cancel and bond. I accept it, but...
Okay.
Accepted.
632. These are requests for directions.
Oh, dismiss, because we didn't have the tape.
Yep.
Thank you. 633 and 34.
Dismiss.
Dismiss.
Thank you. 635.
Dismiss.
Dismiss.
636.
Dismiss.
Dismiss.
637.
Dismiss.
Dismiss.
Okay, 639. This is being adjourned
4-7.
to 4-7. 640, another proposed advisory, adjourned to 4-7. 641, again, advisory to 4-7. 645.
Offer 5,000, accept.
Accept.
648. Am I stuck?
This was the community
Is there
board.
anything pending against these?
Our first referral is from a March operation, and at the March operation, it was, they didn't have the pregnancy sign, and the security guards were not licensed, and the March operation was based off of numerous 311 calls.
I'm
This
inclined.
was an alteration to move their kitchen, right?
Yeah, I'm inclined to
Bathrooms and
approve it.
everything. Yeah, well, all right,
Approved.
approved.
651.
Letter of warning.
Yep.
654.
I approve. There's no protest, and the closest store is about 6/10 of a mile, and the next is almost 13 miles away.
I agree. It's relative. It's 840 square feet.
660.
Offer 5,500, accept.
Accept.
661.
I am requesting this application to return to licensing. They're adding the landlord to.
Oh, okay. All right, great. All right, return to license.
662,
Offer 2,500, accept.
Accept.
663,
Offer of 3,000. They did ask for 2,000. I was willing to reduce it to 2,000.
Oh, okay. 2,000.
They've been licensed since 92 with no
Yes.
adverse.
664,
Offer 2,500, accept.
Accept.
666,
This one I had a concern. The licensee, I saw like 3 last names, Guerco, Cruz, Luce. That is actually being removed from the license. 666? Mhm. 666. Because the corporation was dissolved, but they reinstated the corporation with a new principal.
Yep.
Leaving Blanca Romero and adding
Okay. But it's not Cruz and Luce?
right here.
Because I saw Bianca Cruz and Bianca Luce.
No.
Okay.
Blanca Cruz Guerrero was secretary until Roberto never.
Okay. So the Blanca Cruz that's referred to in the memo, it says the wife of Mr. Maldonado? Because it says Bianca Cruz is being removed. So it's Cruz, that's someone else? So the memo is wrong. It's just the Bianca Luz. So now, Mr. Maldonado has all the shares? Oh, adding, I'm sorry, Mr.
50-50. So you've got Enrique
Okay.
Maldonado has 50 and Roberto has 50.
Okay. They offered 3,000. I thought that was low. Oh, I wanted 5,500. Actually, 8,500, but I'll go down to 55.
55.
667,
Offer of 7,500, accept.
Accept.
668,
Offer of 3,000, accept.
Accept.
669,
Offer of 10 days suspension and 12,000, accept.
Yeah, I had cancel and bond.
It was a nuisance abatement.
I'm sorry?
It was a nuisance abatement. If that,
You think that makes it?
Go up the penalty?
I think that
Yeah,
was it.
because, I mean, in July, the full board imposes a penalty for sale to minor, and after July, they just run the table. They're untaxed cigarettes, for sales to minors, and that's after they were penalized in July.
Do you want to go up to 20,000?
Yeah, I mean, if you said it's a nuisance abatement, it might make it a little tougher maybe to take the license, so. What do we have, 10 days, 10 days suspension?
oh yeah, not
And
dollar
12,000.
signs.
How about we counter with 30 days?
$10 days.
I'm sorry?
Nothing.
How about we counter with 30 days suspension? 10 days is pretty light.
I'll counter with 30.
30 and 12?
Yeah, and again, my problem is the timing. They do all of this stuff after they've been
And they're looking
fined.
to, well, they expire in June too.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
670 and 671.
Offer of 10,000, accept.
Accept.
672,
Letter of warning.
Yep.
673,
Now, they defaulted, so we want to make sure we may want to follow up. We'll send them a letter and then maybe have somebody check this place out. It's not far from the office in Buffalo, so somebody could check it out, send them a letter, and then I'd send somebody out 30 days later. Because if they ignored our notice of pleading, they might ignore the letter.
673,
Offer of 8,000, accept.
Okay. Yep.
674,
3,000.
3,
675,
For a letter of warning, accept.
accept,
676,
For a letter of warning, accept.
accept,
677,
For 1,500, accept.
accept.
678,
4,500, God bless.
Thank you.
I agree.
680.
Offer 1,500, accept.
Accept.
Okay, 685, I have a request to adjourn from Attorney Gardner,
Okay.
Robert Gardner.
47?
He was, 685, he was carried over for this, for the billiards. He has been unable to contact his client.
I spoke to Mr. Gardner about this, and he said he would not be appearing, but his client would appear. Maybe you spoke to him after.
This was dated March 23rd, and he says, I have not been able to contact my client.
All right, well,
But he won't be able to appear.
4-7 and make a market final that if the client
Okay.
doesn't come in, we'll go ahead with that.
This is it.
610. Oh, I have that. Oh, that was a corrected one, sorry. I'm going to my garbage here. All right, that was the last item.
I just had to get control of myself, and now I can
Need a
adjourn
minute?
the meeting. All right, just getting low.